Hello and welcome everyone to week 5 of the CCS. It is time for the analyst desk. My name is Lindor, here today with Sultan, as well as some representatives from the league. From PGO, we have P Huffzone, and from the Goldfish Gamers, it is their top laner, Peanuts. We're going to get things underway right away because we've got 4 matches ready to talk about. Starting with the Wednesday conference, we've got TA Knight versus DNX. And TA Knight shocked a few last week with their victory in the battle between the two ambitions, taking down TA Light and looking relatively dominant. So Sultan, looking at their bot lane's performance, Alveric and Snowlife definitely were a highlight for this Knight squad, demolishing the Light bot lane in both of their games last week. I'm starting to think that maybe this bot lane duo is the best in the league. What's your take on that one?
I think I agree that they're one of the strongest. I don't know if we can just say the best, but I think they're still like really much better than the bot lane for TA Light. I think if TA Light wants to like match that bot lane presence, they would have had to use like Dallas like they did like 2 weeks ago. But still, TA Knight really strong team. Snowlife, we know from last season, he's a really strong player, and
Yep.
he can really like just show up when his team needs to, and being able to do that from a role like support, where like you're more involved in like sometimes macro decisions and
Mhm.
like engages, and
Yeah.
him being able to like just show up is really important for them.
For sure, getting some core JJ vibes out of Snow Life there for the TA at Night squad. And so looking at the other side of this matchup, they're going to get up against DNX, who are still sitting undefeated. 4-0 match record, 8-0 game score, not even dropping a single game in these best of threes. So going over to Zone with this one, DNX is a team that hasn't received as much hype as Hard Hat Zone, but they are definitely between them and Hard Hat Zone, they're the solid two at the top of the Wednesday category. Do you think that DNX is a serious threat, Huff Zone, to take down Hard Hat Zone and be the Wednesday Conference champions?
Yeah, actually I do. So the
Okay.
main person that I want to talk about is Panzora. So I believe I played against him last split when he was on the Limitless roster before they got
Okay.
Marshall. Panzora, he's still kicking it. He's still dumpstering noobs on Wednesday, and the squad overall just seems pretty good. It should be a banger series tonight, though. I'm curious to see how it goes because I think DNX has top lane win, but I think TA Knight's bot's better. I don't know much about the mid matchup though.
So why do you think it is that DNX has less hype around them than Hard Hat Zone?
They don't have enough people talking. The only people
Right.
they have talking in chat is what? Exernia and Daydream, but both of them are subs, I think, right? No, Exernia
Hmm.
actually plays, but I think Chelsea's like a sub. So they're like the only ones who really talk. And Hardhat, to be fair, no one really talks about them other than Flay, but like for Flay, they're his Ponzi scheme babies. So he always talks about them. So
He's pushing the Mickey Mouse narratives
he
as
he is. He
always.
is.
All right, well, DNX members and Hard Hat Zone, I guess, get yourselves out there, get in the trash talk chat, get some spicy stuff going on so that teams will realize you're a threat, realize you're out there, and you're a team to mess with. So I think that this TA Knight versus DNX matchup tonight is a very close matchup. Sultan, you were talking about how maybe TA Knight even have a chance to take down this series. So who do you think is favored to win this matchup? And then give me your actual prediction for what you think is going to happen.
I think like TA Knight has a decent chance to like at least compete with DNX, I think. But I feel like DNX has just better win cons. I think they just
Right.
completely dumpster TA Knight's top side with like Penzora and I guess IGN is VRE or but like it's Catasol and like he's really strong too. I think their top
Hmm.
side is much better, and I feel like they have a really good chance to just like take the game over from their top side. Uh for the game, I think it's gonna be a 2-1 for DNX. I think their like perfect record will might go away this
Okay.
series, but I think they should still be able to win. Penzor is just cracked. I,
So
I
two
think
two one DNX.
yeah. And I think an important thing about DNX is that these guys have been picking different champions almost every single game. Penzura played like 6 different champions or 7 different
Right.
champions in
Yeah.
in all of his games. So It's hard to bend them out.
The man's got a champion ocean up there in the top side. Peanut, you might not be as familiar maybe with some of these Wednesday conference teams, being that you do, of course, belong to the Thursday conference. But give me your marquee matchup for this game and your prediction on who you think is going to take the dub.
So which one is it again?
TA Knight versus DNX.
TNA9. So actually, I'm actually unfamiliar with because they split as a brand, right?
Yeah, TA Knight is the team formerly known as Limitless Exodia.
That's
Okay.
Snow Life's team.
So at the beginning of the season and somewhat around maybe like the middle, we scrimmed against Snow Life
Okay.
and the Snow Life's team, and
Yeah.
then they started. Then Snow Life vanished. So I think he joined TA. What was it, Light or
TA
Knight.
Knight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
TA Knight? He seemed like his team seemed pretty good. So I'm a bit unfamiliar because, like you said, that they don't talk, they don't do majority or whatever.
Right.
So I don't really know majority of what they're gonna do, what
All right.
their game plan is. So
Give us
I
a
do
spicy
think
prediction, anyways.
I think DNX's top laner probably is going to smash the other one, Kobe.
Okay.
I think it's AoE Kobe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've gone against him several times. He is very aggressive in lane, but usually does not. He cannot steamroll as despite playing bully champions like
All
Tom
right.
Kench, Camille, whatever. He picks these carry champions, yet he can't fulfill the role that is required. Like, you need to get ahead, you need to steamroll. Unlike if you're playing like a side lane tank, where it doesn't really matter if you fall behind because that's not your job.
It's funny that you mentioned that because in my experience, I've had the pleasure of casting TA Knight a couple times, and in the games I've watched, it's basically just been AoE Kobe on the weak side on things like the Ornn, you mentioned the Tom Kench and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he can get done on some of those more aggressive champions like you're calling out. So we'll keep an eye on that top side matchup. Huffzone, who you got for this one?
DNX. I'll give it 2-1. I think Snow Life and the boy Ulveric. I always say it wrong. It's like a dwarf sounding name. That's how I remember it. But I think they're good enough to take a game. I think they can do it. So, and I always like best of threes. Best of 3s make good content. So I got 2-1.
Yeah, PGO is definitely a big fan of those best of
Oh
threes
yes,
as well,
we
right?
are. I like to play.
All right. Well, seems to me like DNX is the favorite going into this match, but TA Knight definitely have the potential to pull an upset victory out here. So we'll see what happens coming into that game. The next game that we do have here for our Wednesday conference is the Hard Hat Zone gamers themselves taking on TA Light. So Hard Hat Zone, they've protected their undefeated match score last week. Collective did manage to take a game off of them, the first game that they've dropped in the best of threes. And so going into this game against a slightly weaker opponent in TA Light, do we think that alternative, their mid laner, is the best player maybe in the Wednesday conference or at the very least on Hard Hat Zone? Sultan, I'll hand this one off to you.
About the best player, I personally feel like Hard Hat is a really good team, and like Marcel obviously is like a really good player. I think he played like 3 different roles for his team like this season,
Yeah.
and like he won in every single role. So like that's obviously impressive. But I feel like they like my takes for best players are like Penzora, probably from
Okay.
DNX, and obviously Collective's MVP mid laner, Philly
Mr.
B.
Rowdy Randy.
Rowdy Randy Sultan.
Yeah.
Don't put his name in vain. Say it right.
Rowdy Randy. So I don't know. I think he's up there. Obviously, I don't know if he's straight up the best, but yeah. But also, I think if you're looking at the pick'ems, there's like a one slight TA Light logo there. That's my copium for
Yeah.
this week.
Okay.
I think I don't know. Maybe this is something that I felt like I had to do to get ahead in the CCS pick'em race. So
Sure.
I believe in TA Light. I hope you win, so you can give me like a slight lead. I'll believe in you, although you lost last week. So
Yeah, speaking of last week, TA Light did suffer a 2-0 victory against TA Knights. A little bit of a shocker, I think. They were looking pretty strong heading into that matchup, and honestly, were kind of just dominated in that series. So those were their only 2 games that they've lost so far this season. And so for Peanut, as a player, how does kind of having that tough week influence how you look at your matchups going forward?
Obviously, it builds that false sense of confidence because you'll never know till you truly go against them. But I'm going to go in more confident than usual, knowing that they already are having the doom and gloom going into the series.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just planning on doing my job, CCing machine, whatever, and have Okami, the king of church, just steamroll them.
Oh, are you talking about your matchup?
hmm
Okay, sorry. I was talking
Oh,
about
my
Hard Hat
bad.
Zone TA Light and just kind of TA Light
I'm,
coming off their rough week
yeah,
last week.
I'm a
But
little tipsy turvy Asgragus.
it's all good. No, we'll get there. I know you're anxious to throw some smack talk around
Yeah,
with
of
Huff Zone
course.
here as well. So we'll get to
Uh,
that. But I'll
I
toss this over to. Oh yeah, go ahead.
hard s- looking at the stats. Yeah, again, because Mossy's helping me out slightly, because I'm showing me the win. What you call it? The standings.
Mhm.
Uh, looking at it, I think Hard Hat Zone is going to steamroll them because they seem to be undefeated so far.
Yeah, it is second place versus fourth place in this matchup. TA Light. Yeah, we're looking strong after last week. Maybe, now some people are looking at them in a little bit different light here. Haha, pun intended. So, in lieu of talking about how heavily favored Hard Hat Zone is, let's talk about this conference as a whole. And Huff Zone, I know you have some strong opinions about this, so I'll toss this one over to you. It seems to me that the further we get into the season, the more polarizing the Wednesday division does get. We're getting kind of the top echelon of teams. Maybe you draw that cutoff line after TA Light or after Dorito Gaming. And then it eventually starts to fall off. The bottom of the standings, the teams I think are looking a lot weaker. So are either of the TA teams considered at the same level, even as those top 2? And do you think that there's kind of a gap between the top 4 or 5 and then the rest? Or do you think there's kind of 3 clear groups with DNX and Hard Hat Zone being the best 2? Then there'd be kind of that middle of the pack team with Collective and the TA teams, and then the rest at the bottom.
So I actually think Dorado, TA Light, Collective are the middle of the pack. Collective's barely
Okay.
getting middle of the pack. Taking the game off Hard Hat was like good.
Mhm.
But other than that, you just have your clear bottom 4, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think there's any surprise there. DNX, Hard Hat, top 2 for sure.
Mhm.
And then I actually think TA Knight is just objectively better than TA Light. Like, the TA org picking up Snow Life's team was like a
Yeah.
huge plus for them because like it makes their TA Light team look a lot less bad in my in my opinion. It's
Sure,
like, oh,
sure.
TA's got some good teams. It's like, no, TA Knight's pretty good, but that's
Mhm.
the Snow Life boys. Snow Life and the boys.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think it is obviously clear, DNX and Hard Hat Zone being the 2 teams still undefeated. And I think you're right. After that, after Collective, seeming to be picking up some pace heading through the rest of the split here, after that, there is kind of a sheer fall off for those bottom 4 teams. But they're going to be trying to scrape their way into playoffs. We'll see if they can get some victories here and there. We've already heard from Sultan saying that TA Light might get an upset victory here tonight. Huff Zone, are you in accordance with that assessment
No.
there?
No, I think TA Light's team is like, it's like good. It's middle of the pack good, but I don't think it's like crazy good, and I don't think they're gonna upset Hard Hat. I believe Hard Hat has full roster this week.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah, I think Hard Hat's taking that one. 2-0. The CCS 2 boys will be in bed by 10 o'clock. I do have one
Alright.
thing to say about the Wednesday, though.
Okay, yeah.
So I did have the pleasure of casting RPG. I know they're not streamed this week, but after watching them played, and I think they have their full roster now, I do think RPG can break into middle of the pack with
Ooh.
their new top laner. I do think that they might have an edge with Glacial and then their new top. I believe it's Ziggs with Shades. He was playing pretty damn well last week. So I think if they can get some synergy going, I think they might be able to get middle of the pack. I'm not saying playoffs though, but they might not
Yeah.
end relegation.
I was gonna say it's a bit of a steep road ahead if they are wanting
Yeah.
to break into the top
Yeah.
6. They still have to play Hard Hat. They still have to play TA Knight. So definitely some tough matchups ahead. But yeah, maybe they're a team that's looking to build up some steam and carry that confidence over into the next split. We'll have to see how they do. We haven't heard yet. Peanut, you talked a little bit about how you think the Hard Hat Zone are heavily favored in this one. Are you giving them the clear 2-0 there as well in this matchup?
Just like the
Yeah.
statistics alone, 4-0 first week. Wait, no.
Through the first 4 weeks.
First 4 weeks, 4-0, and then still dominating. Like, I think it's just going to be another steamroll as per usual. I honestly think Hard Hat Zone's got the upper edge even on DNX.
Ooh.
That could just be believing in Flay's predictions, but maybe I'm being paid off. I won't say anymore.
Oh, well, I think you might be after that comment, honestly. But yeah, Hard Hat Zones should be the favorites moving into this match. Sultan definitely has some hope there for TA Light, whether it be some copium as he tries to get back up in the pick'ems, but does think that, yeah, go ahead, Sultan.
My main reason was that, like, after Hardat dropping a game to Collective, it's like, I think it just shows, like, although we hype people, no one is really, like, to a level where, okay, this game is just like, there's no way they lose a game. Like, this is still, like, plat where we can just do dumb mistakes while we're trying to end the game with 10k gold lead. So it's like, it's never impossible, I believe.
Yeah. Definitely important to remember some of those underdog teams. All of these teams are human. They aren't infallible. They will make mistakes, and it's about capitalizing on those mistakes to come away with some of those upset victories. Those are our 2 Wednesday conference games for this week. Moving over into Thursday, we've got Horizon Gaming versus Sensi Squad. Horizon Gaming sitting pretty, 4-0 after breezing past Grinchy Goons last Thursday. They've displayed dominance since the lock-in tournament, despite some roster swaps coming back and forth here in both the jungle and AD positions. If we have to identify a weakness for Horizon that other teams can exploit, what do we think that is? Sultan, I'll ask you, and I also want to get Huffstone's opinion on this one, but Sultan first.
I think it would maybe be the top lane. I feel like the team in general fits pretty well with each other. They draft according to the meta. They can pick up champions decently easy. And I think after the addition of the new ADC, like, they're not looking worse with how they looked with Scomps. So it's like, I think they're still in good form. I feel like it's just maybe their soul laners are a little bit coin flippier than the rest of the team. I feel like Gregorio and, like, Desirus plus Bravo, they're like really solid players. They're like, they're not gonna cost you the game for sure. So I feel like if you're gonna maybe get a lead onto them, it has to be maybe one of these solo lanes. Maybe you look for some, like, solo kills. But other than that, I don't see them really having a weak point.
Okay. Huffstone, have you had the pleasure of facing off against Horizon either on stage or in scrims yet this year?
Yes, we have actually. We played against them, but that was back with Sultan. It was before Gregorio, and Sultan made sure to come to the fan meetup top lane, and he camped me. It was pretty annoying, but that was I don't remember. Was it 1-2?
Yeah,
Sultan?
it was 2-1. Well, before
One
you
of the
won.
yeah. It was 1-2, and I believe one of the games was close. And I do talk with players. Most people know that. I talked with Bravo, Gregorio. I did talk with Scomps a little bit when he was on the team. I do think the team's still good. I haven't talked to their new ADC yet. I actually didn't know his name until you guys said it now.
I believe.
Is it Decarius?
If I'm pronouncing that right.
It's Desirus, yep.
Desirus. Okay. So I haven't looked into him much. I do know Gregorio though, my boy Gregory. Okay, I know what he can do. He was on a little PGO team for a little bit. But yeah, I think the team is still good. It should be an easy 2-0 for them. I mean, they destroyed Grinchy last week. It'll be same thing. Rinse, repeat. Go to bed early.
What would you say is their biggest weakness?
Ooh. I haven't played them enough recently, and normally their games are on the same time as ours, so I haven't had the chance. Have they been streamed yet? The only time stream was last.
Yeah, I think once.
We had a stream where Zed, our coach, was streaming, but then they got pummeled.
Yeah,
you beat them?
Yeah, Sensei Squad, I meant.
Oh, you're talking about Sensei Squad. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
moving
no,
on to Sensei Squad, since you bring it up. Sensei Squad did lose to the very own PGO, courtesy of P. Huffzone himself. It was deceivingly close, I think. And I'm just going to make sure I'm getting this right. Is that right? Did you guys beat them 2-0 last week? Let me double check. Yeah, okay. That is
yeah, the hoodies were
Um,
20% off.
There we go. So over or under for this Sensei Squad team? Peanut, I'll talk to you since you've had the pleasure of facing off against them on the Rift. Do you think that this is a playoff team, or do you think they're going to kind of fall towards the bottom as we head further into the split?
Speaking of Sensei Squad this time,
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
Oh, there's no way they're getting to playoffs because
Ooh.
from how we experienced the playing with them. Once again, Goldfish Gaming 2-0, Steamroll. We were literally toying with them in their fountain. They for some reason their drafts were very questionable. They seemed to want to constantly first pick Rise.
Okay. Not super impressed with them overall, but they
Mhm.
should be capable of beating a couple of those, lower end teams in the division. So Puffs,
Yeah, I will admit that. Yes.
I'll ask Huffzone the same question here. Are you agreeing with Peanut? Do you think this is a bottom two or sorry, about bottom four type of team from Sensei Squad?
It's gonna be close. They're gonna be 6-7 is my placement guess. So
Okay.
right now, with the current standings for Thursday, it's Goldfish, Horizon, PGO, Shadows, Sensei Squad, Zeal.
Mhm.
My prediction is Zeal and Sensei Squad drop out for Iconic and TDR. I think that they'll take
Okay.
5-6 is like my overall predictions like before the split started.
Mhm.
Kind of sticking to my guns there.
Yep.
Iconic, it's the Fruity Boys from last split. They kind of troll in the first half and then come back to play the second half, so we'll wait for that. And I mean, TDR, I don't think they're 1-3. Like, even though it shows 1-3, I don't think they're actually like a terrible team.
Right.
And they definitely could make it to playoffs.
Yeah, both Iconic Severance and TDR, like you're calling out there, are sitting at 4-6. So for overall game record, it's really not that bad.
No.
1-2-0 victory, and all of a sudden they're back to a 500 game record. So there's definitely potential there for those two teams. I like that call out. We'll have to see if they can make that climb into those last two playoff spots. Sultan, I want to hear from you. We haven't heard from you in a little bit here. Sensei Squad in this game, clear underdogs against Horizon Gaming, who, as Huffzone called out there, are sitting at second place in the Thursday division. Do you think that the Sensei team should be focusing just on playing standard League of Legends and performing as best as they can, or do you think it's time for them to maybe try and whip out some pocket picks that maybe Horizon Gaming aren't expecting and try to get a surprise victory somehow that way?
I don't think they've been through playing normal league. I just feel there's just like a skill gap between both teams and players that if they try to play towards like regular like how they normally play and like let's like not doing anything different, they're just gonna get stomped in my opinion.
Okay.
They have to bring something that Horizon will not expect, that something that maybe they will not be prepared for, that can like catch them by surprise.
Perhaps a
Because
Rengar one trick, Sultan?
maybe maybe so it's like other than that, I don't think they will be able to like match them without like playing something cheese you can call it or like
Yeah.
something.
Getting
Yeah,
some LS drafting up in there and try to toss a wrench into the Horizon Gaming
why not?
game plan, right? Yeah, maybe some Shyvana top like we saw on the LCS this weekend. I know it'd be fun to see something like that on the Rift. So
Oh, for
Sensei
sure.
Squad, if you're watching, get us some spice this weekend. We want to see it. Um, all right, that's setting up the matchup for us. We do need some predictions though. So Peanut, I'm gonna hear from you first. Horizon Gaming versus Sensei Squad. Who you got?
Uh, Obviously Horizon Gaming from PGO. Goldfish Gaming experience going against Sensei Squad and from going from the standards with how Horizon Gaming, I believe, is what still taking 4 wins so far.
Still 4-0. Yep.
Like,
One game loss.
yeah, one game loss. Looks like it's going to just be. I will say I'm not sure that they will go. Maybe they'll drop a game, but I do think they'll win the long run.
Maybe in one of those pocket picks that come out,
Yeah.
maybe we'll throw them off a little bit and they'll drop a game.
If Gregorio gets stuck in traffic, they might be able to take a game.
So Hufzone, if that does happen, you think it's 2-1 Horizon?
I don't think he's getting stuck in traffic again.
All right, what's your prediction? Who you got?
2-0. 2-0.
2-0
It's just
Horizon.
2-0
game.
Horizon. It's just 2-0 Horizon.
Are we all agreeing on that one, Sultan? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's even a question.
All right. Well, unfortunate for the Sensei Squad team. They are up against a very tough opponent this week, so we'll have to see if they do get that Rengar. Maybe that's where they can start to make some stuff
Grinchy Goons
happen
can
here.
loan him. They can loan him.
Yeah. Give them the one trick just for this week. Try to take a Horizon game and down a notch there. We'll have to see. But heading into our next matchup, this is the one we're excited to hear about. PGO versus Goldfish Gaming. Goldfish Gaming, the last undefeated team in the Thursday conference. We talked about how Horizon Gaming did drop that game last week against Collective. Last week for Goldfish Gaming, and I'm sure Peanut can attest to this, they kind of took out the trash a little bit as they whipped Iconic in a lightning fast 2-0 series there. I would love to ask this to Peanut, but I know what his answer is going to be, so we'll toss this one to Sultan. Is it finally time to believe the hype around the Goldfish Gamers? What do we think?
Okay, so I'm sorry for this answer to Peanut, but I still think there's been like most of the times when we're talking, at least this early in the season, like I think schedule is a really big part of a team's record. And I will be honest, they're looking much better than what I expected from them. I think they're looking like at least top 2, top 3 for sure. But I will still be honest, like they didn't play a team that would have contested them at all. I think they played CPO, they played Sensei, they played Iconic and Zeal, if I'm not wrong. And these are the bottom of the barrel teams from Thursday.
I will say that the majority, like as the word likes to go around, the Mickey Mouse teams we like to throw around here, those beginning 4 were definitely
Yeah, no.
On the
say the
weaker
least.
end, shall we say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like this is the notice.
So is the team we're going up next, so I'm not too worried.
Goldfish?
No.
Okay. So like yeah, my point was like they have played against weaker teams. The good part about their thing is that they didn't drop a game, and
Right.
while they were winning, they looked dominant. So
Mhm.
that is like what you expect from a top tier team. But what differs when you compare like top teams compared to each other is when they play each other and how they play. So although PGO did their like in classic PGO style getting 2-0'd by Grinchy, I still think PGO tends to play much better when the stakes are high, when
Right.
they're like playing against better teams. And like I don't know if it's a motivation thing for them when they're playing against better players. But I still think Goldfish, they're good, but I think this week will show if like okay, they're the new collective, like the C tier team going for the undefeated championship run, or is this like just the top 3, top 4 team that is just taking out the trash on like the lower tier teams?
Right. Definitely a game where Goldfish Gaming are going to be tested maybe more than they have been before. I want to touch on a couple things there because you talked about how PGO kind of go down to their opponent's levels in some of these games where maybe they're the favorited team. Hufzone, Sultan was talking about maybe it's motivation issues or what it might be. I kind of want to get a look through the looking glass into the PGO squad. What do you think is kind of the issues that you guys are running up against?
Okay, so the main thing, I've been saying this since last split. I'm pretty busy with school during the week. I really only get to play on Tuesday when we scrims and Thursday when it's game day. I like to play 3 games because I like to play the game. All right, this is like the only time I get to play, so I like to go 3 games. Okay, that's step 1. Okay, step 2, it's I need to stop trolling. I like especially in scrims, people who are watching the no, not of the Trundle. I'm talking if anyone was watching the Dorado scrims the other night. That was a fiasco. We're not going to talk about that one. But yeah, I don't know. Team, we've been sitting down. We've been working through some stuff. It's still a new roster, trying to get together. Even though there's only one person different, it's still it still throws a wrench in the plans. When you're used to playing one way, you got to adjust a little bit. So we're still working through that. I think we're good to go for tomorrow, though.
Definitely feels like you guys have been leveling up as the split kind of goes on and deciding how you do want to play as a 5-man unit. There was another thing that Sultan mentioned there, Peanut, which you seem to agree with, and that's that the Goldfish Gaming squad haven't gone up against, any of really the top teams out of the Thursday division yet. So, Peanut, do you think that facing off against some of those weaker opponents earlier on in the split, do you think that's been good for this team to grow in confidence and to have
I
some more weaker opponents to kind of, level up your
Mhm.
game as you head towards some of the stronger opponents that you're going to be facing soon here?
As someone who was like taken from the great beyond, because the original three are still a part of the team: Dirt, Mossy, and Okami, while the other
Mhm.
two, me and Gregor,
Rip dirt, rip
yeah,
dirt.
we like we needed that. Judging how from when I came in, the whole like never done it this before. I was seeing how everyone was talking about jokes of like, oh, they're gonna lose playoffs or they're
Right.
gonna lose all that. I think we needed that motivational boost, that winning streak to finally rekindle. Well, can't rekindle because it wasn't there to begin with, but to rebellish the idea that even a team that was completely trashed, a coin flippy team,
Mhm.
can now push forward.
Yeah, and I think you guys have done a fantastic job of finding your footing, and obviously, going undefeated is no small feat so far. So we'll see if you can keep it going tonight against PGO. And for PGO, we heard it a little bit there out of Pete Huffzone. They've had a little bit of a tumultuous start to the splits, and famously losing 0-2 to the Grinchy Goons in week
Happened
4.
last split. Happened last split. It's
It
gotta
sure
happen
can.
again.
It's just the PGO way. What can we say? But last week also just barely edging out Sensei Squad, who I'm hearing from some of my analysts here, they're maybe on the weaker end of teams as well. So, Sultan, what do you think is holding this PGO team back? We got a little bit of insight there from Huffzone, but what do you think this squad needs to jump back towards where they maybe want to be?
I think it's something that they need. I think it's just like kind of a. I don't know if it's true, but it feels like it's kind of an ego thing where
Hmm.
they hugely underestimate teams that look worse compared to them on paper.
Right.
And like this is something that happens to every team. But when you underestimate someone too much, as I said like previously while we were talking about Wednesday, this is still plot, and you can throw huge leads against teams that you would maybe never expect to. And
Mhm.
like I think we saw kind of something like that when PJ was playing it against Shadows, where like both teams are throwing huge leads,
Mhm.
and like sometimes just underestimating teams can just result in like losing them to O2. So it's like I think that's the problem with PGO. I think they're probably much better than most of these teams on paper,
Mhm.
but it just comes down to how much you respect the enemy team, how good you prepare,
Right.
and I think this like the team that they're going on and their level of skill kind of affects how PGO like gets ready to the game.
Do you think that's true, Huffzone? Do you feel like you mentioned, you felt like you ran it down a little bit in a couple of those games. Do you think that was just the case of you not fully respecting your opponent? Maybe you just think, hey, I'm better. I can do whatever I want, and you
Yeah,
don't.
totally. I mean,
Yeah.
it happens to everyone, whether you want to believe it or not, or admit to it. But I'll admit to it. I do it a lot. I got my own ego. And
Yep.
I like to run it down a little bit. Sometimes I like to have fun,
Limit
but
test, limit test, right?
yeah,
Limit
yeah,
test.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
yeah. I
don't
call
use
it I
that
call it a
term
limit.
here.
Yeah, yeah. I call it a limit test. No, in scrims last night, I was running it down. but tomorrow's game day. When it's game day, something different happens, and it's gonna be 2-1 PGO tomorrow.
Oh, all
And
right.
then I'll see Goldfish go into game 3 every game for the rest of the split. Back to the coin flip.
All right, bold predictions coming out there from P Huffzone. And Huffzone, I want to get one more little bit of insight here from you before we move on. Can you talk a little bit about what PGO is doing to address maybe some of the concerns and the communication issues that they have had? Obviously, there's a spy in our midst here. Peanut is listening in. So without giving away too much,
La 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 la.
what sort of steps have you guys taken towards shoring some of those things up?
We've been trying to play a lot more. We've been trying to just be a lot more vocal, keep the comms going.
Mhm.
Specifically, I know that I've been getting a little quieter than I used to be. I need to get loud, amped up again. Bring the
Yep.
team, elevate them up with me. I think it's a good group of guys, and I think we'll be a-okay tomorrow.
Good to hear. All right, over to Peanut then. Peanut, you're obviously going to be taking on a man by the name of P. Huffzone in the top lane. I don't know if you've heard of him, but
I've
given
heard
your
of his
champ.
infamy.
Okay, I see. Yeah. His limit testing, as they
Yeah.
say. Yeah. So, given your champion pool has been fairly static, I think that's fair to say through this season.
Yes.
How do you prepare for a matchup against a player like Puffson?
Well, looking at his OP.gg, he plays all champions you usually always run into the top lane. So
Okay.
I already come in with the knowledge of how to fight majority of them. The
Mhm.
only one I'm mainly concerned about is obviously Akshan,
Mm.
because he makes any melee top laner's life misery.
Luckily, there were some Hellbreaker nerfs, so maybe that'll help
Oh
you a little
yeah,
bit.
like I was thinking, Riot, whoever's up there, they heard my cries.
they're,
But
they're they're looking out.
it's I'm not too concerned because, like I said, I'm usually focused weak side. I don't need to be funneled gold to
Mhm.
succeed. He may beat me up and take my lunch money and buy 400
Peanut, I will
peanut
be
butter
taking your lunch money. I hate to tell
400
you.
peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with that lunch money. So I we can still I can still perform just as well, even though he may get a lead.
Fair enough. It's good to hear that confidence in the rest of your squad that, hey, yeah, maybe
Yes.
I lose lane in certain matchups and certain scenarios, but you've got the confidence that your team's got your back.
Mhm.
Without giving away sort of any specific strategy, can you speak to what your focus has been as a team in preparing for this specific match? Because we talked a little bit about how it might be your toughest opponent yet. So, with
Mhm.
that in mind, what kind of how have you been preparing for this?
Definitely, we've been preparing mentally because a lot of, as seen through our uh, stomp games, we do sometimes do like we like to call limit testing,
Mhm.
and we kind of just go off a deep end. Even although we're so far ahead, it doesn't necessarily matter.
Right.
But against a team that is equal, maybe even of a higher ranking, that would proceed to be extremely bless you. That
Take your
could be considered even more catastrophic.
Right. So just
So in
be,
this case, yeah,
yeah.
we have to be even more on guard. We have
Mhm.
to be on. We I don't think we're gonna change strategy as per usual. Like
Mhm.
I don't like it's been working great. It's been stomping games,
Mhm.
unless they find out how to smash Dirt and Akami at the same time. Like I said, it won't matter if like he runs to town and back with me.
All right. Being aware of some of those places where maybe you need to shore up a few of your mid game plays and things like that against better
Mhm.
rosters is definitely good to be aware of. I want to get some predictions going. We're gonna go Huff Zone first, then Peanut, and then we'll get Sultan to break the tie because I'm sure y'all are gonna predict your own
Uh,
teams. So Huff Zone, who you got in this matchup?
We got the two teams that love to go to game 3. We got Banger on CCS 1 tomorrow and PHub ProView. Shameless plug. It'll be 2-1 PGO. Enjoy the
uh,
discounted hoodies, fellas. I know, Peanut, I know you don't want to hear this, but Dirt already picked up one from the win last week. It will be
Ooh,
I knew
here
he was
that
a sellout.
it will be here that I need to sign it, I believe Monday, and then I will be shipping it back to him.
fantastic. Peanut, what do you have to say for yourself and your squad?
I think it's going to be a major disappointment for PGO. They come in with their heads held high, and then, just like most goldfishes, they're going to be flushed down the toilet.
Flushing them down the toilet, even though you guys are the
The
goldfishes.
goldfish.
Yes.
All right, Sultan, break the tie here. Who you got?
I think it's going to be 2-1 for PGO. I agree with Huffstone. Uh
Uh,
and I will be honest. I
I'll see you in
think
Valhalla, Sultan.
I I will say this. I think this series is going to look really similar to what PGO had with Shadows. I can see this stream going to 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Oh
So
boy.
good luck to CCS one streamers tomorrow. And
Mhm.
I'm really grateful that it's not me. I don't. Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
can
we
tell
got
you right now it's going 3 hours because Goldfish tried to get us to play an hour and a half earlier because
Listen,
they
some
knew
of
it
us
was.
have school, okay?
I
we'll
got
see.
school too, dog.
You've got probably a car.
If you guys want to see a banger matchup, PGO Goldfish Gaming tomorrow is the match to watch. I've been guaranteed a 3-game series by P Huffzone, and the man does not lie. So we'll have to see. Keep our eyes peeled for that one. That is going to do it for us today on the analyst desk. Thank you, Sultan, for being here today, and Peanut and Huffzone, you've been great guests.
It was
Thanks
a
for joining
pleasure.
us. Awesome. Well, we've got some more League of Legends coming up here today. It's going to be TA Knight versus DNX on the CCS channel, and Hard Hat Zone versus TA Light on CCS too. So make sure you don't miss any of that action. We're going to take a short break here before we do have the matches coming up. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CCS Week 5. Tonight we've got a matchup between DNX and TA Knight. My name is Lindor, here for the first time with Sultan. Sultan, it's a pleasure to finally cast together.
Yeah, same here.
And looking at these two teams, DNX, of course, sitting at the top of the Wednesday standings, 8-0 so far through the Wednesday League. TA Knight just a couple spots behind them, sitting in third place, 3-1 with a 6-2 match score. So we already talked about it a little bit on the analyst desk. You think that DNX is slightly favored in this matchup, but you wouldn't be surprised to see a TA Knight victory here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think DNX obviously has better record coming in. They've been steamrolling through these teams that they've gone against. Said that they also had an easier schedule compared to TA Knight.
True.
They're yet to play Hard Hat,
Mhm.
which was TA Knight's only loss. So
Yeah.
I think these teams are closer than what their records show us.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think this match should be a really fun and a close one.
I think after this game, we'll kind of have a much clearer picture of what the Wednesday standings are going to look like. Because if DNX can just easily get a 2-0 here, they cement themselves as the best team, maybe other than Hard Hat Zone, because they haven't played yet. Whereas if TA Knight can take a win here, I feel like things get a lot more interesting in the Wednesday League standings. So a lot on the line here for both sides. We are getting some R's dropped here. We are into drafts and bans hitting the table. TA Knight taking away Gangplank and Vex so far. On the other side, it's all Varix, Pocket Pick Varus, and the Snow Life Zillion taken away. Rakan and Tom Kench also hitting the ban table, so a couple supports off the table.
Yeah. Uh, we're just basically seeing some main champions being banned. Ulverk obviously is like OP.GG shows he really likes Varus. He plays it really well. He also picked it in CCS, and I think he picked up some wins with it. So that's obviously a pick that he uses. On
Wow. Kaisa first pick. Zeri and Jinx, both available here, Sultan. But TA Knight opting for the Kaisa. Not something we've seen very much of at all this season. What do you kind of think of that pick?
I think that is maybe comfort. I don't know.
Hmm.
Like she has been pretty good with the AP build that people go with the Menemune Nashers, but it's been pretty hard because she's not too mobile until she has the 6. And
Mhm.
you're like the ultimate kind of is like an aggressive tool that you use most of the time. So she's kind of vulnerable if she gets behind early on,
Right.
which is what these ADCs that are meta do really good. Like Zeri, Jinx, Jen, they can really put some pressure on the enemy team. I really like the
Absolutely.
Hecarim pick after that.
Yeah, some power picks coming out here from DNX. Hecarim starting to become maybe one of the best, if not the best, jungle champ in the current meta. And of course, Ari did get a few touch-up nerfs after some of the changes coming through there, but still a very strong champion with those ultimate resets coming through. And of course, the pickability with the charm there. I think Ari's generally pretty safe blind because of the amount of mobility that the champion can provide. So really just a couple safe, strong picks here for DNX.
Yeah, and one of like what I like here is that Vex is off the table, and Ari kind of suffers playing against Vex because
Okay.
how Vex interacts with dashes.
Right.
They do pick Echo, which is a really comfort pick for Hadio on the side of TA Knight. He picked it up a few times. He actually utilizes the champion really well, and I don't know if that gets locked in.
No, Ivern is disabled today, so this is a little bit of a
Oh,
nod towards the
okay,
fact that
okay.
Ivern just destroys spectator clients.
Oh, okay.
So we
So
are going to
they're
get the
just
Xin So the Hecarim for Xin handshake there. And yeah, we are expecting, of course, the Echo to be in Hadio's hands in the mid lane. DNX yet to lock in an 80 carry here. I have to imagine it's going to be either Zeri or Jinx, but I'm curious as to why these picks are so far just falling through the draft.
um. Okay, I think they're gonna go with Ezreal. I think it is something that Mori plays. It is a safe pick. It is interesting that they didn't opt in for these champions like Jinx
Hmm,
and Zeri and Aphelios. The thing is, those ADCs require you to play around them. So it kind of limits
right.
how much your team can do. And knowing that, especially on the side of DNX, you have a really strong side. You have a carry player with Penzora. So just like picking Ezreal, and Ezreal just opens up so much for your support. Like, he can easily stay alone in the lane. He's really safe. He can farm with his Qs. It's super strong. So just having that I think works really well with DNX. I don't know about the Kai'Sa pick. I feel like it's really
Right.
awkward
Mhm.
in my opinion. She gets outranged. She doesn't do but that well into hard engage. So I wonder if this is just like a really good comfort pick for this side of
So I'm
TNA.
looking at Ulveric's match history today, and an hour ago they had a game on Kai'Sa where they went 8-2-9 and won. So maybe just after that game, he's feeling the champion a little bit and wanting to take it on stage. It does also provide some extra dive, so when paired with things like the Echo and the Xin Zhao, can kind of get into the mix a lot better here. But second ban phase has already been done. A couple of those hook champions taken away from Snow Life. Yumi not going to be able to be paired up with the Ezreal here, and so instead, looks like we're going to see the support Karma out of DNX. Could still technically be a flex pick, but I don't think that the top lane Karma really is something that DNX are going to want to be playing for.
Yeah, and Karma just works really well with Hecarim. Also, the movement speed, Hecarim just always appreciates some extra movement speed. It always works really well. I think, I don't know, maybe they could have gone for something that can roam better, but you can still roam with Karma. It's perfectly fine, especially when you have a Hecarim, as I said. They TNI goes for Shen. I think Shen pick is a little. I just don't know how to look at it because it is a safe pick. It is hard to stomp a Shen in lane, but it's also like Penzera has a champion Ocean, I would say. Champ pool Ocean. So it's like I'm pretty sure he can pull something that is going to really benefit from going into Shen and like maybe just being able to scale possibly. So
Yeah, they did save that counter pick for Penzora, of course, so we'll see what he does want to take into the Shen matchup.
Ooh.
Maybe just the Ornn, kind of handshake the tank on tank matchup. Not necessarily something that we've come to expect. Okay, that's more what I'm expecting to see. Tryndamere, Sultan. This is a champion that I personally hate facing against right now. Shen, of course, can block some of the auto attacks. I don't think that this is maybe too bad of a matchup for the Shen. What's kind of your take on this top side 1v1?
So yes, Shen doesn't like eat really auto attacks. He's pretty safe into Tryndamere. But with the comp that they have, I think the idea is just to let this Tryndamere split push. And later on in the game, the more items that Tryndamere gets, it's just gonna be harder for this Shen to deal with because your W only stays on for I don't know how long, maybe 3-4 seconds.
Yeah.
And after that, that's just Tryndamere critting you
Yeah.
time after time after time. And this might just like force Shen to build something specifically against Tryndamere in the side lane, maybe a Randuin's. So we might just see something like that. But I think I like both drafts. I think they have obvious win cons. Pairing up the Kai'Sa with Seraphine so that she can kind of like heal her back up after the poke that they're going to receive from Karma Ezreal.
Yeah.
I wonder how they're going to utilize their like mid jungle because Echo is something that we see more on the jungle side lately. I think she is not really good in mid lane just because of like how his W works. You sometimes can't really make use of it. So I kind of want to see Hadio just like pushing the wave and roaming and trying to make plays with this Xin Zhao early on because Xin Zhao is decent, does well into Hecarim, and he's super strong in the meta too. So I just kind of want to see how this mid lane plays out because I feel like the mid laners roaming will have a big impact this game.
Yeah, and I think that outlines a very clear strategy here for TA Knight. Kind of auto push the lane with the Echo and then try to roam around with the Xin Zhao. And with once the Shen gets level 6, the Stand United can come down and they can start playing for maybe some bot lane dives, try to get Ulveric ahead, who has kind of been the main carry for this squad. The one other thing that I will say about Hadio's Echo is, yeah, maybe it is a little bit underwhelming in lane, like you're saying, Sultan, but some of his engages in team fights on this champion have straight up won them games. I had the pleasure of casting this team last week, and between Hadio's Echo and Kobe's Ornn, they were able to win a game that I thought they had no business winning. functioning. So when it does come to some of those mid-game scenarios, I think that Hadio's Echo provides a lot that this team is missing otherwise.
Oh yeah, obviously. I think the weakness that Echo has is kind of in the laning.
Right.
After the laning is over and like we kind of go into these team fights, Echo is just a monster in like zone control. And if you're walking in with no vision setup, you're gonna get like 5 men stunned by a W, and then he's just gonna obliterate your team.
Mhm.
So I feel like since Paddy also plays this champion a lot, I think he's gonna be able to at least go through the early game pretty safe and probably just take over the game, maybe come mid game.
Mhm.
But that also opens up how DNX will respond because Echo
Right.
is kind of vulnerable during the laning phase. So if they can maybe get him behind and make it so that when the mid game comes, he's not that big of a threat, it would like benefit DNX really good.
Yeah, DNX, their top side of the map, top jungle and mid have all been exceptionally strong this year. So especially with Panzora on a champion like the Tryndamere that has so much agency to get things done in a side lane, and then they have such a solid 4-1 composition here. Of course, the Tryndamere off on the side, Ahri and Ezreal both very safe. Hecarim with the Karma, which you've already touched on, feels incredible, and then even just the Karma shields and speed ups in general to kind of help them avoid some of the engages that TA Knight are going to be looking to force onto them, because I feel like that's the only answer for them. You talked about how Kobe might have to try and itemize against this Tryndamere in a side lane, but there's no world where a Shen ever wins a 1v1, apart from maybe Panzora diving too hard under a tower or something like that. So I think that the engages from TA Knight onto the 4-man squad of DNX have to come at the right times, and they have to come at the right targets.
Yeah, probably it's going to be like Xin Zhao kind of leading the charge, getting
Right.
a Shen ultimate on top of him, and then
Mhm.
Shen maybe looking for a taunt possibly, and then a Seraphine ult following it. It should
Mhm.
be something like that because if they try to play the 1-4 and if the 1-4 game goes long enough, especially with the Tryndamere build that we see lately, which is like they still build Hulberger on the champion,
Yep.
it is going to be a problem for the Shen because when you have Hullbreaker, you have the option to just like say, okay, well, there's a Shen. I'm not going to hit him. I'm just going to hit the turrets. And
Yeah, the
it's pretty
Shen
hard.
TP's away with the Stand United, and Panzora says, "All right, I'm on your base. I'm hitting your Nexus tower or your Inhib tower. Like, what are you gonna do about it?" Yeah, I definitely like to see Panzora on a champion like this that can provide so much pressure for the team. So we will see how these teams do execute on these comps as we jump into game here. We're gonna take about a minute or so as they load onto the Rift, and we'll be right back with Game 1, TA Knight versus DNX.
Everybody panic! Hold on. I'm about to say something really cool. 3, 41, 9, and lift off! No one dies screaming without me. I feel like I forgot to shoot something. You're starting to bore me. She's such a loser. Always ready to cry. Ah, come on. What's the worst that could happen?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift, everybody, for TA Knight versus DNX here, week 5 of the CCS. My name is Lindor once again, here with Sultan. And Sultan, looks like we might get some level 1 cheese here out of the TA Knight squad, already wanting to put some resources towards shutting Panzora out of this game.
Oh,
He's actually snuck into this bush, though, yeah.
there's no way.
They didn't see him.
He gets away with it. Okay, so
We'll see if DNX want to collapse here. They could potentially... Yeah, okay,
I don't think they saw him. Yeah, they didn't even see him. I don't know if I should call that lucky or maybe he had a itch that they were gonna do that. But they did get vision on the start, like on the red, so they're at least gonna know which side Hecarim is starting. It kind of works out in the end. For the side of DNX, they also got a ward towards the other side of the jungle, so they're also gonna know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We see that DNX didn't opt in for TP on any of their champions, so we said that they might look for 1-4, and if they're gonna go for 1-4, they have to commit because they're not gonna have TP. And on the other side, we have TP on the Shan, plus with the stand of United, he might be able to like ult to a team fight and then TP back if they are able to succeed with it.
Yeah, it definitely makes the DNX team composition a little bit more one-dimensional, not having that option to TP Panzora into those situations and really just having them hard pushing on the opposite side of the map, right? And we talked about the hull breaker options here for the Tryndamere and how the split pressure is really what they want to be using to leverage objective advantages on the other side of the map, but definitely gives them less options if they do end up falling behind in some of those scenarios, so we'll have to see how that does go. We are seeing Reedy here potentially opting into a red buff invade. We are seeing the push in the mid lane go in the favor of Hadio for the time being, so maybe wanted to take advantage of that.
Oh, they're gonna see each other.
Shadow Gecko still on his Raptors here is going to be a little bit
slow. I don't
slow
like
to
this.
play.
Reedy is level 2. This is
two.
bad. Wait, why is Gecko... Okay, Hadio is in first move though.
Yeah, Hadio is going to be first here. It looks like Kobe trying to zone Panzora off of this, so
Gecko,
Knight,
they're giving it.
Yeah, we'll be able to just pick this one up. So nice job there. I think that the biggest thing there for Kobe was making sure that he's first into that tri-brush, making sure Panzora can't walk through that area and join the fight there. But yeah, nice job capitalizing on a little bit of the mid lane priority that Hadio did have there. And it's going to be still a camp lead here for Shady Gecko, but a nice little steal there from Reedy as he wants to collect this Herald on the top side as well. Trading in the bot lane, Mori going to dodge away from the Void Seeker, so should be looking all right.
Yeah. I feel like this is just going to hurt Gecko's clear because what you tend to do with Hecarim is that you put 2 points in Q so that you clear faster. And he did do that, and now he doesn't have his E, and to hit level 4, he's going to need one more camp, and he will need to wait for his Grom to respawn again. This kind of like slows him down. Reedy still has all of his chems up, so if he just like chooses to just go back to full clear, he's going to just come out ahead. I personally think Gecko shouldn't have gave that red buff. Like they have the Ignite, they have the Ghost on Panzora, they have Ghost on himself too. So I think they would have like just won that pretty easy.
Yeah, I think the push from Hadio able to kind of intimidate them a little bit there. They're unsure about whether they want to take the fight if they win the 3v3 scenario with Viari being a little bit late there in the mid lane. So they opt for the safe choice, I guess. Whether it's the correct choice or not maybe is a little bit uncertain, but it is definitely going to be Reedy with a camp lead here, like you say, able to clear out his bot side very nicely. Shady Gecko's Grump has now spawned, so we'll be able to pick that one up. We'll be level 4, so maybe just a camp behind here in terms of tempo, and otherwise across the rest of the map it is Panzora already building up quite the CS lead here in the top side.
Yeah. I still feel he's going to be up in EXP just because Double Crab actually gives you almost close to no EXP after the changes that they brought in. And Gecko will be clearing his level 2 camps for Wolves, Krugs, and Raptors, while Reedy's Wolves and Raptors Krugs that he just cleared were still on the first clear. So I think Gecko is still going to have some EXP lead. I'm trying to look closer to this top lane because like how the team is going to work for DNX, how we talked about like it's going to be that split push more than likely for Panzera, and he's opting into Vampiric Scepter early on. Maybe a possible Bork into Shen that really likes to build tanky,
Right.
and not this kind of means also that he's not gonna opt in for early Hullbreaker more than likely.
Yeah, and maybe wants to stop off for that item that gives him more power in the 1v1, as we do see him going aggressive with the trading here. Has the bar full. Oh my goodness, Kilby has to flash away. He's just dead. Yeah, Ignite's going to tick away. Panzora has the heal, and that is going to be the Tryndamere already off to a solid lead, up 15 CS in this lane. It is going to be Shen able to buy this Bramble Vest early on. That's going to be pretty big for him, but going forward in this lane, especially if it is going to be the Blade of the Ruined King coming through, I don't think the Shen really stands much of a chance.
Yeah, and like I tried to talk about this well in draft, like Shen W, yes, it makes you like non-vulnerable to auto attacks, but it only stays on you for, I don't know what, 3-4 seconds at best.
Really 2v2, Exernin reading this play well, is able to be here. Stand United is going to come through from AoE, Kobe, Viare, and Exernin actually having to burn their flashes. So Reedy burns flash, Kobe burns ult, in return for the mid support flash and ignite, actually, of both these members here from DNX.
Yeah, I think the bad part about his TP, not his ultimate, is that he used it right after his TP, so
yeah,
he TP'd back the wave, and his wave is, I think, he's gonna push back to Panzora, unless he chooses to push. And it's just gonna kind of it just feels bad because you take the TP, you just take it so that you can play a little safer, and your team just like makes you ult mid right after you TP. You're like, what? Come on, guys, what are you doing?
He did at least get to pick up the crashing wave there, so at least there's that. But yeah, definitely not having either of those abilities now ready for a few little minutes here is going to mean Kobe's in a little bit of a stickier situation, kind of locked into this 1v1 in the top side. Already Panzora playing this aggressively, proxying the wave, knowing that he's never any sort of threat unless the Xin Zhao is in the top side. And even then, with the mobility that this Tryndamere does have, should be able to use the ultimate and the spin to win, to get out of most of those scenarios. Up 25 CS and the kill. Will get taunted under tower here, but is going to be more than fine. I'm really liking what I'm seeing mechanically out of Panzora on these E's. Using not always the maximum distance, just using the distance required to close the gap that he needs.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of damage coming from Snow Life. But yeah, we already see the CS difference building up in the side lane. I think a good thing for the side of TA is that Kai'Sa is also up a decent amount of CS compared to Ezreal, and they're gonna need this. He is opting for the Manamune build that we kind of been seeing lately, and it works really well. I don't think if it's good this game. The thing is, they have Seraphine, they have Echo. Chen does AP damage because of how his Q works, so I don't know if like going AP on your ADC too is just good. You're just gonna force the enemy team to build MR, but then
Root coming through. Killer Instinct from Olveric. They just blow up Mori. Ready to pull the trigger immediately. Encore now coming through. Ignite is down. Olveric's got the flash to clean up the kill. It's 2 kills for the TA Knight bot laners.
Yeah, this is what they need from their bot lane. This is the heart and soul for the side of TA. This is how they win their games. Their bot lane is just like wins the matchup, and they just kind of carry their team over the. Oh my god! Just please tell me I saw it wrong. What is Xin Zhao building?
Oh no!
Please.
Oh, Audio going forward with the ultimate. Chrono Break forward onto the Ahri, who still has a few charges on the Spirit Rush available to get out of that one, so we'll be alright. Potential dive here on the top side. Shady Gecko has the Onslaught of Shadows, going to be dashing in, going to go for that one. Yeah, that's the fear. That's going to be the taunt back in. Panzora still has the ultimate, so is not going to be going down to the tower, and now the Rift Herald summoned up. This will be first tower going down. Huge influx of gold into this Tryndamere's pockets.
Yeah, and like even without the hit, he was up almost close to 1.5k. Now, after the turret goes down, he's going to be up 2k in the sideline. and at least we're seeing TA kind of respond with the Dragon Take, which is really nice. I don't know. I really don't like the build from Xin Zhao. I feel like bruiser items are just work way too good for a Xin Zhao to build that. And with the thing that he's building, he's either going Kraken or Gale Force. And like those things do not help you survive. And BD is kind of in a bad position here.
Yeah, he is trying to go for an invade here, but is going to find himself a little bit caught out. Charm goes wide, has the Crescent Guard to provide a little bit of safety there. Does end up having to Blast Cone over the wall. But I wanted to kind of compare this lead in the top side for Panzora to the lead that Alveric has been trying to build up here on the bot side. Obviously, Panzora, you know, with the Rift Herald charge and the first tower gold, is looking very, very strong. Almost 2,500 gold up in this matchup is actually Shady Gecko into the bot side, possibly looking for a gank attempt here. Snow Life has Flash available, Shen Ultimate used as well. True Shot Barrage not going to find any sort of lethal damage there, but now they're leaving Panzora alone in this top side, and he's got a pushing wave onto this tower.
Yeah, like this is just putting Kobe behind, and like this is just going to get to a point where he is not going to be able to stay maybe even under his threat. My main problem here is that, yes, Kaisa is really strong, but doesn't matter how behind Israel is. Once he hits his 2 items, he does a lot of damage. It's incredible. And like all they need to do is like stall some time.
Oh no, Reedy and Hadio wanted to go for the bot lane dive, but they're going to find the collapsement actually happening onto them. Hadio with that chrono break able to provide a little bit of space here, but looks like he's going to be caught between a rock and 4 enemies of the enemy team. Fiery actually flashing forward, but missing the charm, and now just getting eviscerated. Alveric cleans up that kill. 1 for 1 so far, but Hadio will be going down, trying to give it over to the Ezreal. 1 more auto will claim it. Taking a little bit longer than it maybe should here. Mori, who actually had to be a bit careful there, does end up grabbing the kill. So 2 for 1 trade there in the favor of DNX.
Yep. I think that's a little too deep, trying to dive that. Especially how squishy this Xin Zhao is. He didn't have his ult either. He burned it earlier so that he wouldn't die to Ahri roaming towards him. So, yeah, without having this Xin Zhao ult, it's a little too ambitious to go for that. We did see the Borg come through for Panzora. He is really ahead, close to almost 3k compared to Kobe. And Kobe might just be dead.
Yeah, down a level is going to get him found out here in the jungle. That's going to provide a little bit of safety there, but Ignite goes down. Flash from Kobe. Okay. Panzora says, all right, that's a positive summoner spell trade there for me. Next time you're overextended, you are surely dead. I'll take the small victory and head up to clean up this wave.
It was like, I think 2 seconds away from his ghost. If he probably had it, he would have killed him. But this forces Kobe back to base. Panzora is picking up CS again. He is right now up 3k on Shen. He is sitting on Tabai's and Bramble West. On the other side, we see a completed legendary item for the side of Panzora. Yeah, it's looking rough. It's looking rough, thinking that he is the only frontline for the side of TA. Like, Reedy is going to be super squishy whenever he doesn't have the ultimate. And even when he does have the ultimate, this Tryndamere, if he's in the fight, he's gonna one-shot him. Almost 100%. And Gecko is going a build that I really like. VC, especially in Platinum, people on Hecarim, they tend to go for the Menemune Chem Tank build.
He'll be alright.
Which, yeah, which brings a little bit more damage to Hecarim. But what we see in pro play is that they just don't go the Menemune, they go full tank. Because when you have a team like, or a draft like DNX, where you have...
Oh, this is going to be all-in from Snow Life. Is going to find the Encore onto 2 members. Alveric with the Killer Instinct going forward will find the double kill. Now on the top side, Panzora does have to be a little bit careful there. Actually has to use the ultimate and not able to find the kill onto Kobe. They are onto the Rift Herald here, so there will be a cross-map play of some sort. But once again, it's the duo bot line of Snow Life and Alveric keeping their team in this match.
Yeah, and if Ulveric gets a little bit more ahead, I'm pretty sure it's gonna just get really, like, things will get really rough for the side of DNX. Kaisa, that is ahead, does so much damage with the Ws. And the thing is, normally Kaisa, as we know, is a low-range ADC that kind of needs to walk up. But when she's sending those Ws from
Shot
2 screens
barrage.
away, nope. When he's sending those Ws 2 screens away, they hurt, and like just how AP Kaisa works, she gets the cooldown reset on it. So yeah, Ulverk is in a really good position to kind of carry this game. But we can say the same thing, maybe even better for Panzora. It's just seeing how squishy this side of TA is, and they don't have too much CC. Like they do have the charm, they have knock up, but these things are skill shots, and Tryndamere has an E that he can just use to dodge these things. And with the Ghost, he also has really high movement speed. So I still don't know. I think the game is super close. Both teams can win this game, but I think I favor the side of DNX a little bit more, just because if Ezreal can pick up like some gold, he's going to be just fine catching these waves and not dying.
Yeah, we're seeing both these teams playing towards their win conditions, as Hadio is going to find himself in a 1v1 here against Panzora. We'll see if he can get out of that one. Actually, it's the Stand United coming down to the bot side, but Vaya looking for the engagement, finding a double Everfrost. Mori with the True Shot Barrage, not able to find too much more damage. Hadio on the bot side, able to stay alive with some assistance there out of AoE Kobe, so neither engage here, either in the mid or the bot side, gonna come to fruition. But now Panzora, looking for a potential flank here into the mid side, is gonna walk right in. But oh, look at the engage out of the Hecarim. It's on a Snowleaf. They found Alveric, and that's the shutdown gold. Panzora is too angry to die. Reading in the front lines, Hadio wants to try and find the kill, but the shields and the heals are just too dang much. They do find one onto Mori, but it's 4 in the death chamber here for TA Knight. DNX finally able to find a way to break this game open.
Yeah, and we kind of see how squishy they are. It's like when the Hecarim actually gets a good engage off, there's almost no space for the side of TA to play the game. They burned this channel to get Hadio out of the situation that he got himself into with Panzora, and Panzora then moved towards mid lane. And we saw they're not gonna one-shot Panzora, but Panzora will one-shot them, because just 2 crits coming from him towards the Xin Zhao just put him to less than half HP. And that Xin Zhao is like, I don't know how many times I said it, but I really hate the build that he's going for. There's just no need for it. Like, the enemy team is not too tanky. You don't need the true damage. Your champion has built-in attack speed. You just need to go bruiser and just survive in the front line.
I have to agree. Yeah, I mean, the only real tank is Shady Gecko, and I consider Hecarim more of a bruiser type as well, so
yeah,
not sure how much value the Kraken Slayer is really getting this game, unfortunately for Rudy. It's not even an adaptation that I've really seen before, so maybe we'll get some insider information after this series on that one, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, what I normally see if the enemy team has too much tankiness and like you have a Xin Zhao, is that you either opt in for maybe a Divine Sunder that does really well, and Xin Zhao can use it pretty good. Or maybe like a Bork after your Gore Drinker, because like Xin Zhao, the 3 auto attacks from the Q kind of helps with the Bork passive. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe if he picks up a lot of kills later on in the game, he can maybe do something, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of
currently sitting at 0-2-0, so definitely hasn't had the early game start that Reedy might be wanting. But kind of looking at both these teams, they're playing towards each of their win conditions. Panzora, of course, with this massive lead that we've talked about in the top side, is exactly where DNX want their gold, as Panzora trading a bit aggressively here under tower. Ooh, Kobe actually stepping a little bit too far forward. Yeah, he's just a dead Shen. Oh my goodness, Panzora knowing the limits of his champion so well there. Bear's gonna face check into a couple enemy champions. The charm's gonna land though, and look at the dashes, keeping them safe. Crescent Guard provides a lot of time here for Reedy, wanting to trade one back, but there's just no hope and a prayer for the TA jungler. They will be going down, and now 5 versus 3 on the map. Dragon spawning in 25 seconds, and Panzora free to push how they want here on the top side.
Yeah, and there's still 8 seconds to Kobe. The side of TA, they're around the dragon. I think they should just give this. They don't have their jungler. Maybe try to pick up a shutdown onto the Penzura, but they're too far away. He can just, yeah, he's just gonna E away. It's really hard for them to catch up to him. And like we just keep seeing like Xin Zhao right now, he's super squishy. He cannot even be tanky with his ultimate. And like Echo, yes, he has the chrono break, yes he can heal up, but still if the enemy team has heal cut, the healing that you receive is exceptionally
Oh my goodness, Alveric ulting into 3 members, immediately having to burning the flash on the backside. Still fishing a little bit here, but not going to be able to find too much. We're starting to see that evolved W, the cooldown being so low. Some of the poke from Alveric is starting to get a little bit threatening.
Yeah, it is threatening, but I think he kind of overestimated himself. That was a little too ambitious for, at least for Kaisa that is at this point in the game. He just finished Manamune, so he's exceptionally tankier, but you also see Shady Gecko opting for the Spirit Visage, and that's just gonna make it so that he's gonna take considerably less damage from these abilities that is coming up out from the side of TA. We see Veery using the ultimate.
Yeah, trying to go forward, gets the Everfrost, is going to find the charm as well. True Shot Barrage onto Hadia will get him low and force out that ultimate. And now Panzora is into the backside, has that ultimate available, is going to get charmed up, but able to press that R key before getting the CC onto him. Still in the front lines, playing this touch and go, will actually go down. Shen now with the taunt onto Zernin is not going to find too much extra here. Charm comes through. Kobe, you got to be careful, man. Not quite gonna get taken out. Shady Gecko looking a little bit worse for wear here, but health bars healthier on the side of DNX. Do they want to continue this siege? Looks like they're still fishing around the area, wanting to shove out some of this lane. They did pick up that dragon like we were talking about, and Sultan, we're starting to see this Ezreal, like you were talking about, come online, despite a bit of a rough early game. Mori now 3 kills under the belt, has the Essence Reaver, tier fully stacked up, and so yeah, this Ezreal well and truly starting to feel like a champion.
We're gonna see him pick up the Manamune here in a second, and yeah, so it's just like how Ezreal works. This is why he's a strong champion in the side lane too. Like we didn't see Exornium move a lot this game, but like when you have a roaming support, doesn't matter how behind Ezreal is, if he's not like 0-8 or like straight up running the game down, like as soon as he hits the 2 items, he's gonna be doing a lot of damage, and we're just seeing that. And for the side of TA, the fact that they don't really have a point-click CC that they can use on Ezreal just makes it really hard to get on him, so he just gets as much poke as he wants. So he's gonna be a really strong force for the side of DNX. Just thinking that Tryndamere can maybe be shut down with CC. We saw Snowlife using the ultimate there to kind of slow him down when he goes in. But even then, oh, okay, now he's going for the Hullbreaker. We're gonna, in a few minutes, just see the full-on split push Tryndamere experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, yeah, Tryndamere's in that fight. Really nice CC chain out of Snowlife and the rest of the TA Knight members, but I don't think Panzora is going to be looking for those type of engagements very often in this game, and especially once he picks up that Hullbreaker, like you're saying. I feel like he's more than happy to set up shop in a side lane forever and just say, team, listen, you're in a 4v5 if they look to engage on you. Try to be as annoying as you can with some of our poke with the Ezreal and the Karma, and then if they do go for those engagements, they have so much safety. They've got movement speed with the Karma, they've got the Ezreal Arcane Shift, Ahri with her ultimate, the Spirit Rush, and same thing for Shady Gecko, able to use the Onslaught of Shadows defensively. So I'm not sure, I mean, okay, looking at TA Knight, how do you want them to pilot out some of these mid-game scenarios, given the situation that they're in here?
Like they need to make sure that Panzora doesn't have a wave to play with. Because Panzora, although he's playing Tryndamere and he's really strong in the side lane, he doesn't really have anything to stop Kobe from ulting. So, like, looking for these fights when, like, Kobe cleared the wave, everything is good to go, even if he ults, Tryndamere is not getting 2 turrets from your base. This is what you kind of want to look for, kind of communicate that. And obviously, the cooldowns are really important. They cannot fight without Snowlife's ultimate. That Encore is what their team is going to team fight around. Because If
Oh,
Adio
Hadio's gonna
got
get
charmed.
charmed up, is gonna
Oh.
immediately use the ultimate to disengage. That's a pretty big summoner spell down here, considering Dragon, or rather, ultimate spell down here,
Yeah.
considering Dragon spawning in just 20 seconds here. So that does make TA Knight's life TA's life a little bit harder heading into this Dragon scenario. It might even mean that they have to give this one up completely.
Yeah, not having the chrono break kind of just removes what Echo can bring into a fight. But what you want from Echo is like he goes in and he goes out. He just like that quick. Maybe you're one-shotting someone while doing the initial combo and getting out really easy using the chrono break. When you don't have that, it's really rough. And really, if he's not be careful, he's gonna run into Panzera.
Oh, Snow Life.
This might be.
Ooh.
Base
Panzera.
Snow Life is alone. Oh,
So
he's gonna
patient.
protect
Now Snow Life will walk in. 3 auto attacks, 4 auto attacks. Goodbye to the
I think Panzera wins this,
Seraphine.
by the way.
Oh my goodness, the rest of the team is here to collapse as well. Charms comes through, Reverfrost for the root. Now Alveric is alone in the middle of 5. A very split team fight here from TA Knight as DNX find the collapse. 3 in the death chamber for 30 seconds. Baron is on the menu.
Yeah, and I want to address something. I think almost more than 90% of the gold dude right now for DNX is on Panzera, and I'm pretty sure he can almost like 1v4 if he has the hull breaker up. Yeah, Kobe is dead.
Yep, Panzora says, I don't care, I've got Hullbreaker, I've got Gale Force, I don't even need my ultimate, you are dead, and so is the Baron. 15-7 now for DNX, they are approaching a 10,000 gold lead. And, I mean, you said it best, Sultan. Panzora, 6-1-5 on this Tryndamere, really taken over. Level 17 already in this game.
Yeah, he also Flame Horizoned the enemy top laner. Yeah, this kind of shows like how some counter picks that we think just don't work as good. Shen, I feel like he's better into, I don't know, maybe a champion like maybe Camille. I'm not even 100% sure on that. But with Tryndamere, where you cannot really kill him even if you CC chain, it is just super bad, really.
Yep, he's just going to be going down for the 5th time this game.
He's just
No
so
Gore Drinker to buy time. And yeah, I mean,
like
is now building up towards a Death's Dance, I think. This build is...
it just doesn't make sense. I wouldn't even be mad if he just sold the Kraken now just to buy Gore. Like, it is just... It just doesn't
Hanyo
work at all.
does have to use the ultimate. Vier going forward with the team, but they've got their eyes on the tower. They want to get the siege. They will do exactly that. Still, it is Panzora pushing on the bot side, able to grab another tower, and Kobe at this point just feels like he can't even be in the same lane as Panzora. Whenever this ultimate is up, the Undying Rage, there's just no answer to him in a side lane unless they can send multiple members. But, I mean, you even said it, Sultan. Panzora might be able to just straight up 1v4 at this point. Is 3 levels up of anyone else on the side of TA Knight. And maybe they can look for a play on the other side of the map, but... Yeah, okay, here they go. Alveric ulting in with the Killer Instinct is going to get charmed up, but now, oh, baby, here comes the onslaught of shadows. It is Hadyo diving the backline, able to get one in return. The shutdown on to the Ahri, but now is on the other side of the rip. Panzora is able to just run rampant in the enemy base. Reedy is going to be falling down here. Panzora cleans that one up. Easy peasy, 1-2-3-Z. Hadyo still on the run here. Will be able to use that ultimate, but should actually... Ooh. Nice little juke play there, but I mean, look, he's trying to buy time for the rest of the team, but Panzora's like, I don't care. You only have 2 enemies in your base. I have a Baron buff. I'm going to take out all your inhibitors. I'm going to destroy your base. I'm even going to come kill Hadyo. See you later. Panzora, this is your game. Everyone else is just living in it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like, he's up for levels, 140 CS, 8 kills. I don't know how many turrets. It's just like, he is just as fed as the Tryndamere can get. Yeah. And like, we just saw, although Ulverik is pretty strong, after what happened lately, he's not even, let me check. Yep, he's not even up any gold against the Ezreal. And it just doesn't matter. Like, as soon as the Hecarim gets the engage on top of the Kai'Sa, she's just gonna die. Like, even without Penzora, they have enough damage to burst down a Kaisa. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think there's much else to say for this game at this
Yeah.
point. It is
That's
just doom and gloom for TA Knight.
That's what I'm feeling too. Like, if I'm TA Knight in this game, I'm thinking, all right, this game's done and dusted. It's all about DNX coming in here, dotting their T's, crossing their I's. You know what I mean, the other way around now. But so looking forward to game 2 then. If you're TA Knight, okay, maybe this game was pretty hard for AoE Kobe, and he wants to ban away the Tryndamere for game 2. Apart from a Tryndamere ban, what do you want to see adaptation-wise for them as we wait for DNX to kind of finish
I'll
this
be
one off?
honest. I don't even think it's like a Tryndamere ban angle. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that encore just kind of left. It's not about banning Tryndamere. I think it's just how they kind of played, because what you want to do with your comp, like, you lose the side lane. If you try to play for the side lane against the Tryndamere, you're always gonna lose. So the game plan should be, okay, we have the Shen ult, we have to use it aggressively. And the problem is, we saw it more than once that Kobe had to use his ultimate to get his teammates out of bad situations, which is like fine, but then it's like, okay, that means that you're not winning the other side of the map. Like, you're not winning the side of the map that Kobe is in.
Yep.
And unluckily, your jungler is getting Boris gapped, so it's like it's just really doomed. I think going into game 2, they should just like have a better idea of what they want to do, and like if they're able to win the bot lane, like we saw that Ulverik and Snowlife is able to win the 2v2 in the bot lane without the jungle pressure.
Yeah,
So
there was a point in this game where Ulverik and Snowlife, I mean, Ulverik was 4-0-1 on the Kaisa. He was looking really strong.
yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't mind if they were like just picking a solid 2v2 bot lane and trying to make sure Penzora doesn't get ahead. Like, trying to play towards the other side and leaving him on an island with Kobe is exactly what he wants, because Penzora knows that he's gonna be the player that's gonna win the matchup. What matters is that you need to shut him down. You need to play towards him. Tryndamere is kind of vulnerable pre-6, so getting that Zinzao there earlier, maybe getting Hadio to move, and maybe even diving him pre-6 is just super good for you, because he doesn't have the TP. If he dies, he's gonna lose some waves. You're gonna get ahead in the EXP game, so I think that's what they should at least look for.
All right, well, we do see DNX finally onto this Baron as it does spawn.
1v5.
Hamzora just going to cause some havoc here in the enemy base. Has that ultimate available. Probably will end up going down here. Whirling Blades there to get away, but Ulverik has the killer instinct. It will be the shutdown going over. But Penzora has done his job. The rest of the team able to easily secure this Baron. Yeah, okay, he would have liked to not go down in that scenario, but at the very least, they do secure the objective.
Yeah, I think it could have been fine. I think that's just like a bit of limit testing. I think he could have just pressed ult and left. He tried to still kill. That is fine. I think he earned it. He deserves a bit of limit testing with his champion.
He gets to flex his muscles a little.
Yeah, and I don't think like his team is in a position where like if the game goes too long, they're gonna get outscaled. Like, this Kaisa is already like almost full build. Maybe Echo might turn out to be a little scary, but I feel like this game is still really kind of doomed.
Yeah, it feels like even if team fights can go in the favor of Ulverik and the rest of the TA Knight squad here, Penzora can just be in a side lane and win the game. Like, at this point, there's definitely a backdoor angle for the Tryndamere if they overextend and try to go for a fight.
Yeah.
Baron buff has been claimed. We got a minute and a half on this next Ocean Dragon. I don't think DNX need this by any means, but we'll see just how cautious they do want to be in finishing this game out. For the time being, they're going to try and take control of this bot side jungle, see maybe if they can fish for a pick. I think any kill that they grab here probably just wins them the game.
Yeah.
Here it is.
About.
Crescent Guard coming through. Penzora, though, with the Gale Force, able to gap post. Hadio trying to pride to... Oh, no, yeah, the collapse from DNX is just too dang good. Encore not going to find anyone. Hadio trying to flash over the wall to safety, but he will eventually find his screen gray as well. And DNX will walk it into the base here on the victory march. Five members strong here. See if they can pad those KDA stats before they do finish it off. Give all the CS to Panzora. He's at 10 CS per minute in this game. Feeling fantastic on the Tryndamere. A couple inhibitors do go down. Baron minions streaming into the base. Kobe, Snowlife, and Olveric can't do much else here but just watch. Charm comes through. Root going down. The Shen will fall. And now the Nexus turrets will be the focus. The second one, not long for this world. Olveric and Snowlife are going to get tagged up with the True Shot Barrage. Charmed up in their base. Will they get taken out? No. The Nexus will be the target. Couple of stopwatches burned, but DNX with a commanding Game 1 victory.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of a little bit went according to what we said in the pregame.
Mhm.
Kaisa Seraphine can work. They will try to play towards the other side of the map. They did. TA Knight did get ahead in the bot lane.
Mhm.
The problem was Tryndamere, every time Shen ults away, he gets a turret, he gets CS leads. Then Shen is in the lane. Every time he uses his W, he's dead. And like he started diving him just right after level 6. It was just, I think he dove him while he was level 5. It's just like when you start losing that early, it's really hard. And later on to the game, it comes to a point where you either try to kill Tryndamere, because if you don't, he's gonna take your base, or you try to play for the try to go for the objective, but then again, Tryndamere is gonna take down your base.
Yeah.
So you don't really have too much choice after Tryndamere gets that head.
DNX able to put TA Knight into lose-lose scenarios throughout this entire game. I think you said it best, Sultan. I think TA Knight had their moments in this game, in the early game, where they were playing correctly to their win conditions. They just weren't able to execute with those Shen ults. They had to use it defensively almost every single time, and that meant that, like you say, the Shen was TPing out of the top lane. That meant Tryndamere was free to pick up all those resources, and the Shen and TA Knight in general weren't getting anything for the rest of the map.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for game 2, we need to see a gameplay change. I don't think the draft is a big problem. I really kind of liked what they tried to do.
Right.
You could use Shen a little more aggressive. I think if they somehow get him ahead in the side lane against Panzora, like imagine this Shen when Panzora is 2 items and he's 2 items, like
Right.
Shen wouldn't die. Most of the times that he died was when Panzora was 2 items and Kobe didn't even have his mythic that costs way less. Like the Frostfire is a cheap mythic, and he didn't even have that. Well, Panzora was sitting on 2 items.
Yeah.
So we just need to see a little bit of a different gameplay coming out of TA Knight, and I still think come game 2, they can still pick up a win.
All right, well, we'll have to see if they can do exactly that. We're going to take a step back here as we do load up that game 2. We'll see if DNX can clean up the clean 2-0, or if TA Knight can force us to a game 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are getting ready for game 2 of TA Knight versus DNX. This time, we will have DNX on the blue side, TA Knight on the red side. Sultan, you were talking about how you really liked the composition out of TA Knight. It was just a little bit lacking on the execution. So headed into game 2, we're looking for them to shore up a few of those execution errors and hopefully not let Panzora just take over the map like he did in game 1.
I think maybe changing the support pick. I think Surfing
Okay.
is good. Brings a lot of like AoE healing. Like they're just healing the whole team. Movement speeds. The ultimate like Encore is like one of the most broken ultimates in the game. But in the end, their team comp in general was super squishy, especially with this Shen being behind. So maybe having something like Leona or Nautilus, where you can be a little bit on the front line, a little better on the engage side to pull the trigger, not relying on an ultimate like an Encore, which is really high cooldown. I think it would help a little bit more. I think that type of pick also would lead them to pick up the bot lane lead to another level because you can roam better
Right.
with that.
Yeah, that's a style we've seen out of Snow Life in the past, right? The things like the Nautilus and the Leona, like you called out, where he can be the main source of engage for the team. And I think that when you have your main shot caller as your main source of engage, that can make the execution a lot easier because when you hear that voice that everyone trusts going, we're going here, we're fighting, let's go, then everyone can be on the same page and ready to go for those plays. But we are jumping into draft here right away. DNX going to take away Tom Kench, Varus, and Zillion once again, just like in game 1. On the other side, TA Knight, they do flex into that Tryndamere ban, not wanting to see that one again. Gangplank, as well as perhaps a Rakan ban. Rakan and Vex were the bans they saw in game 1. So this time, wow, respecting the Hecarim and the Tryndamere here.
Yeah. Rakan, as far as I know, as someone who played with Exornian, she is a kind of a Rakan OTP. But I don't know if they're going to go for it. Also, they didn't ban a Vex, which I guess it's fine. I think if they're thinking about it, maybe pick it up. It is still a decent pick into Ari. It is really good with the fears. Much easier CC compared to what Echo does. I think they're going to opt in for Nico, a champion that Hadi also plays. Yep. Nico's also a decent pickup. Ari, we saw Fieri play it last game. I don't think it was he didn't play it super well to a point where he was like taking over the game, but I think he did what DNX needed him to. He
Right.
used his ultimate, just kind of created some chaos, landed some really good charms that. Oh,
That's a
okay.
Draven. Yeah, we do get the Hadyo special on the Nico there, and this is Ulveric throwing down the gauntlet, looking for the
Yeah.
Draven matchup in the bot side.
Yeah. Draven is something that we kind of saw towards the end of um last split. I think it was really liked in places like LEC and stuff, but
Yeah, Han Sama played quite a bit of it.
yeah. And I don't know. I don't really play the champion. I don't see the champion almost like in my solo queue ever.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be interesting to see him use that champion. I wonder what they're gonna pair him up with because I know Draven kind of does well sometimes with some engage champions,
Mhm.
but he also benefits from enchanters because he has incredible amounts of damage on his kit. So when enchanter is helping him, it's gonna work well. But it still is a good ADC again. I think last game, just like last game, it's just like a neutralizing ADC, and he comes online after the 2 items or like 1.5 item. So I like the Israel pickup. Volibear, also strong pick. Decent place in the meta. The good thing about Volibear is that you can force dives super easy with him. Turn off the turret. The point click Q stun. It is super
Yeah.
easy. And one of the things that I like about Volibear is like some interactions and how it works. If you cancel his Q, let's say with something like Gragasy or Draven E,
Yep.
it just resets the cooldown. It doesn't go on to cooldown. So it is really easy to just like, okay, you broke my Q, I use it back up. So it's going to be like a really good champion to kind of pressure Draven, which is
Right.
like a kind of a low mobility ADC. He doesn't really have the dash or something like that. He has his W movement speed, but it requires quite a lot of mana.
Heading into the second phase of bans, we once again see the Yuumi taken away. Fiora,
Fiora.
another one of those split push champions that can really take control. So TA Knight aren't wanting to see that style here out of the DNX top laner. And we'll see what the last ban is here for DNX. Gragas still technically a flex pick. Most likely going to be played top, but also could potentially jungle, could even potentially be paired with this Draven on the bot side, although I think that's a little bit less likely. So Nautilus going to be the second ban here out of DNX. And we'll see what TA Knight wants to go for here. They have to show their
Oh.
hand a little bit. If it is the Kled lock-in, then it's likely... Oh. Okay.
This would, if they pick up Gwen, it might still be a flex, but
Could just be the tried and true Ornn
yeah,
for
it is
AoE Kobe.
something that Kobe
Yeah.
plays. I think. Okay, so last time they made sure to ban Mordekaiser. This time Mord is up, and Mord is a really has this like great time against Ornn. You just like you win most of the trades once you have your ultimate. You Ornn calls the Ornn horn, and then you ult him, and then his ult just goes away. So
Right.
that's like a good interaction for Mordekaiser. I think he
Yep.
might opt into it. Yep, it's
There it
just like
is.
a really good matchup. Gragas, we will more than likely see going into jungle.
Mhm.
Might still be a flex, as you said, but I just don't see Gragas working into Ezreal. It's just like, what
Fair
are you
enough.
going to
Yeah.
do? I think if DNX just picks up an Enchanter or even like something like Thresh, they should be fine. I would like Thresh. Thresh would like bail out Volibear sometimes. Braum, it's still definitely a champion that is pretty safe. He can W back to his teammates. He can use his E to block the Ornn. So that is just like a specific, really good interaction, and like it shows that they kind of know what they're drafting. It also works pretty well with Volibear. They have champions that auto attack a lot, and Braum passive just works super well with those champions. The Teemo hover comes through. Let's see what they go for.
Yeah, those concussive
Zyra.
blows. Oh, this is such an aggressive lane out of TA Knight. Snowlife, in an interview that we got to have with him last week, said that some of these kind of aggressive, not enchanters, but like mages in the bot lane is what he really likes to play. So Zyra Draven is about as aggressive as a lane as I have seen, especially in a competitive match such as this. They've got, some team fighting prowess here on the team as well with the Nico and the Ornn. So how do you feel about these compositions, kind of just looking at them as a whole?
It feels like pretty similar to what they were trying to do last game.
Mm.
I think TNite obviously has a little bit different, but DNX is kind of still the same. They have jungler that can dive onto the backline with the ultimate. They can create some pressure with it. Not maybe as well as Sekram, but Volibear also has like some dive potential for the turrets. Mordekaiser, once he has his ult, it's pretty hard to kill him in the sideline. Unlike Tryndamere, he can turn a 1v4 into a 1v1, and then once he gets the reset from the ultimate, then it's a really winnable 1v3 for the side of Mordekaiser. And it is still a really good matchup, so I think it is going to be pretty hard for TA Knight to play this game if they play like what they did. If they're going to leave that 1v1 with this Mordekaiser, he's not going to have fun. And if they don't do anything before 6 to put this Mordekaiser behind, it's just gonna like you're better just like FFing your lane and like just trying to do something else. I like the Nico, I like the Zyra. It's like some a little bit more team fighting potential for sure. But this game, this Draven needs to get ahead. Because if he doesn't, they get insanely outranged by Ezreal. And if they walk in too much, there's still the Ari charm.
Right.
And it's going to be really hard to play. Like this is going to be like another game where DNX will probably look for a 1-4 comp with Mordekaiser in the side lane. And it's TNAD will be under pressure to get a lead again.
Hopefully for AoE Kobe, the Ornn is a champion that they're a little bit more familiar with. I believe that was their first Shen game in the CCS. So Ornn is
Yeah.
something that we've seen Kobe pilot before and find success on. So hopefully a little bit more comfortability up there in the top side might make this lane go a little bit different than we saw last side. But once again, I mean, it's Panzora with the counter pick. It's Panzora with the fantastic matchup as you're highlighting there, Sultan. And it is going to be a matter of whether Panzora can get ahead. So I think you're absolutely right. For Reedy, I think his eyes have to be on the top side in the early stages, just to at least make it so that Panzora has to use that ultimate to get the first kill. Last game, we saw the Tryndamere getting first blood at maybe level 4 or level 5, and from that point on was just really off to the races.
Yeah. I feel like this game would even be harder if that Mordekaiser gets ahead. The thing is, it is going to force Reedy to buy a QSS this time. Last time, it's a Tryndamere. You don't need to buy QSS. You just have to run away, try to kite him back. This time, if you don't buy a QSS, you're gonna die. And the best part about Mordekaiser this game is that he can still ult Nico, he can ult Zyra, and anyone that he's gonna take out of the team fight will benefit them.
Yeah.
And like Snow Life is not gonna have fun in the death realm. I can say that. As a Zyra, you don't. First of all, you're a support. You don't have
Mhm.
the gold resource to buy a QSS. And even if you do, it's just like such a huge waste for a champion like Zyra.
Yeah. I mean, in that case, Panzora just goes, all right, I'll click R on someone else, right? Like there's going to be a better target somewhere in these team fights. But yeah, Snowlife hopefully won't be getting squished like the plant that he is in some of these fights. I like the draft here again from both sides. I think that Mori and Exernia are more than comfortable playing for the weak side with the Ezreal and the Braum providing a lot of safety in general. And so we'll have to see how TNI choose to execute on this game, whether they are feeling like Kobe's more comfortable in this matchup, and so then maybe they think Reedy can play for the bot side and try to get Alveric ahead on this Draven, because that theoretically is how they want to play this game, with the fact that getting Draven snowballing is probably their main win
Yeah.
condition, at least in the early game.
I think what Reedy should do is that he should path towards top. He should make sure that Kobe is not going behind while like getting closer to level 6.
Right.
If Ornn is like not behind, if he has like some items, he can survive the death realm early on. But
Mhm.
if he's down EXP, if he's down in farm, if he's down in gold behind items, as soon as Mordekaiser will turn 6, if he's like level 5, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
It's gonna be super hard for him to survive that. So I want Vidi to like put a little bit attention towards him, make sure he's like doing fine, at least like doing fine, and after that he can focus mid, he can focus bot. He's free to do if that Ornn is not losing the side lane, because this time scaling is on the side of TA Knight in my opinion. And why I say that is the Ornn items, the
Yep.
ornaments, they're super strong. They're like 1k gold worth of value. So like even if they're behind 5k gold, 6k gold, while like Ornn is like level 17, it's not gonna matter, because that means it's gonna mean that he has given like four or close to 5 Ornn items, and it just makes up for the gold.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely true. Considering the game plan that you just kind of put out here for Reedy, if you're Shady Gecko on the other side, how are you looking to counter that game plan? Are you wanting him to path towards the top side as well and try to play for that 2v2, or what's kind of the play here for the Volibear?
I think trying to play for the 2v2, maybe getting a lead if they can, is good. And possibly after he hits level 6, I think they should kind of pressure dives with Ari moving towards the bot side too.
Mm.
It is a pretty easy dive. You have Braum, you have Woolly Bear, you have Ari, you have the CC.
Yeah.
So
All right, well, we'll see how these teams do exactly want to pilot in those scenarios. We're just waiting another 30 seconds here or so for the spectator delay, and then we'll be on the Rift for game 2. We'll be right back. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, everybody, for Game 2 of TA Knight versus DNX. Looks like we're just getting a standard 5-point here for Game 2. Neither side looking for any crazy level 1's shenanigans. Once again, my name is Lindor, here with Sultan, and DNX looking to make this a quick 2-0 victory tonight.
Really? Hello? Wait, what?
Reedy? What is happening? Reedy's win trading? I'm not sure what to say on that one.
Okay. No, we see Panzora just go no BM UDC or something. Yeah. Okay. So Reedy did DC, I think. So for a second there, it looked awkward because he moved in.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, why is he? Ooh.
Yeah, it was interesting because it's not like Reedy just stood still and went down. It looked like maybe for a second he thought his team was looking to collapse and maybe wanting to look for a body slam onto multiple members there. So definitely unfortunate for Reedy and the side of TA Knight. Not the start they wanted to get off to. Hopefully they can shake that off, keep their mental strong heading into this one.
Especially the kill going to the Mordekaiser is just super
yeah.
unlucky because he's already sitting on the boots plus Thorn's ring, and it is just like we were talking about how this Mordekaiser shouldn't get a lead, and he just started with a free kill from level 1.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a little interesting to see for sure. Unlucky that we don't have the chrono break for CCS for now. Hopefully we're gonna get to a point where we can do that.
This is just a Mickey Mouse league, you know, you can't expect too much out of us, as we do see some trading here in the mid lane. Hadio is going to find some damage, but easy trade back there here for VR with the Electrocute. Olveric and Snowlife in the bot side able to push things under tower here. Same thing to be said for Panzora in the top side. And junglers currently pathing towards opposite sides of the map. Reedy right now on his bot side, going to look to clear out these camps and then maybe look to make a play. And Shady Gecko going for the full clear strategy here on the Volibear is going to be ending up towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, one thing, Reedy didn't clear his Krugs, so he's not gonna hit level 4. And Shady will hit level 4 while he's pathing top. I wonder if they can maybe go for a dive. Volibear will get healthier. If Kobe gets chunked more, he's gonna be in a problem situation. Because his jungler is not there, and it's pretty easy to pull up a dive with Volibear.
Speaking of the junglers, Reedy is going to be first in the mid lane here. Viari is going to get tagged up with that. Reedy actually takes the kill, getting some revenge there for the first blood that did go over. So it is going to be one kill to the side of TA. Hadio investing the flash and the ignite for that play in the mid lane.
I think that play is just bad. Just for Reedy to pick up the kill, because now Hadio will be back in mid, and he's not going to have a flash, he's not going to have ignite, he's not going to have a significant gold lead, and we might see the dive happen in the top side in a second. Yep, Kobe.
Gecko is going to be looking for it. Flash bear slap will be the play. The lightning comes down. Panzora
good Q
flashes forward with the Q flash, claiming the kill. And Sultan, we were talking about how we didn't want to see Panzora getting off to the races here if you're TA Knight, but 2-0 on the Mordekaiser, already taking advantage here of the Ornn, and it feels like Panzora is going to be in a similar situation as to what we saw from him last game. Olveric going aggressive here, not really winning that trade. Mori actually, gonna go forward heal, will buy a second exhaust now onto Snowlife as Olveric will be going down. The support from TA Knight has to flash out of that scenario, and things are just going very poorly on the Rift right now for the TA Knight squad.
Yeah, they're losing top for sure, pretty handedly. This death in bot, until this, Olveric was ahead in CS, he was doing really good. Now Mori gets back, he picks up some CS, gets back onto the CS game, he picks up the kill too, so extra gold, always appreciated. Yeah, this is like why I wanted Reedy to go towards his top side. Like if he was able to help a little bit towards Kobe, the dive wouldn't have happened for sure. Oh,
Ooh,
Snow
they want to look
Life.
for more here. Shady Gecko is waiting in the wings. He's going to get spotted out by the plant in the bush there, but Snow Life has no flash. He's going to get tagged up with the concussive blows and go down. Xernean picks up that kill, and it's 4-1 now. 2,000 gold in the lead already, just 5.5 minutes in.
Yeah, and when you have these champions such as Draven and Zyra, who kind of wants to snowball from their strong laning phase, when you lose your bot lane with that, it's just gonna kind of limit the options that they have. Hadio also burning the flash ignite in the mid lane. He's also in a rough spot, down 20 CS.
Yeah.
The only lead that they have currently is sitting for the side. Not even that. Like, VD is not even up gold, although he picked up that kill. And they pick up the
Dragon will get picked up. It is going to be Shady Gecko in the middle of 3 TA Knight members, so they're able to pick up a kill on the back of that. Unfortunately for Alveric, they don't give the kill over to the Draven, so not able to cash in on any of those stacks yet.
Yeah, I think they should communicate that a little bit better about like who's going to pick up the kill, because
There's no way Gecko gets out of that.
yeah, and like you just, I guess Zyra is not the worst case scenario because of how the champion works, and he does bring some damage to the table. But you, of course, you would want that on your Draven. You want him to get the Draven rolling, give him some lead, because at 2 items.
Oh, we're seeing Hadio go for an attempt here in the bot side, but was spotted out. Pop Blossom going to be coming down. Root is going to land, and the target is going to be Braum. Xernean, looking worse for wear, is going to give the kill over. Hadio grabs that one, but the collapse from Shady Gecko is in time. The flash forward from the Yari charms into Alveric. The explosive cask is not in time, and the punch back here from DNX is going to ring true.
Yeah, and this was just good read from the side of DNX. They knew the side of TA has to try something.
Obi?
Because,
Searing charge comes through, but he's in the death realm. One more smack from the mace will claim the kill.
Yep, and like, this is kind of what we talked about in the pregame draft. If he's down gold, if he's down EXP, he is just gonna die, and it's not looking good. Again, he's sitting on boots with tier, and for Penzora, he's sitting on what was the item's name? Leeching Leer, and sitting on a 1.8k gold in his pockets. He's already up close to 2k at 8 minutes. Like 2k normally is a good gold lead for a team to have at 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Just having that just on one lane is just feels incredible for the side of DNX for now.
The rest of the game is relatively even. Small advantage in the mid lane for Vier there, and of course the Ezreal is faring quite well into the Draven matchup, especially considering Alveric really wants to start snowballing through the early game with this Draven pick. They are calling Reedy over to the bot side for a potential gank here, but the wave isn't very big. It's not like it's a double stacked wave here, and the answer from Shady Gecko is already coming over. They're even going to be first to the roam out of the mid lane here as well. And yeah, Hadio just takes a ton of damage there. Shady Gecko coming around for the engage. Nice stun there from Snowlight, but the unstoppable going forward through the Pop Blossom. It is going to be Hadio with the juke there, with the clone coming forward, but exhaust now onto Hadio with no flash is going to be the target, and he will go down. Vier giving that kill over to his AD carry. Snowlife and Alveric will find some safety under their bot lane tower here, but these plays that TA Knight keep trying to go for on the bot side are just being read so well by Shady Gecko and Vier here in the mid lane, able to constantly get these counter ganks in and allow these scenarios to come up in their favor. They want to even continue going for the dive here. Snowlife might be the target, charmed up. Yeah, he's going to be going down. They do trade the kill on to the Braum, but Xernean going to be more than happy to trade his life in that scenario. Chase down here now onto Vier, but he's got some friends in his back pocket and won't be in too much danger now. It is DNX up 3,000 gold just 10 minutes into this game, even claiming the first dragon. And yeah, I mean, 3 shutdowns on them. Gold lead is pretty massive. Things are looking good for this DNX squad.
Yeah, and I feel like these plays are kind of like just out of desperation at this point, because they're losing really hard on the top side of the map. In the jungle, they're not up enough to make up for the difference in the top lane, and like they're still behind gold in the other lanes too. So they just like kind of feeling themselves forced to make these plays, I think. Oh, Kobe.
Yeah, he wanted to go for the 1v1 there because Hadio was coming, but Panzora just hits the R key, turns it into 1v1, and now with the stolen stats and the rest of his
Hadio's
team
dead.
looking to collapse, is going to be able to go for the re-dive. Hadio buys a couple seconds with the stopwatch, but Exernin is going to use the Glacial Fissure, expend that one for the kill. Tanks an extra shot there, actually will be alright. Shady Gecko, oh, he is just barely going to go down, so Hadio manages to get the 1-for-1 trade.
Yep. So, in general, it doesn't look bad for Hadio because he was able to trade a kill, but in the big scheme of things, he's losing wave. Viari didn't lose anything. It was still a 1-for-2 trade, actually.
Yeah.
Thinking that Panzer also killed Kobe.
Oh, really?
And
Flash body slam. Mori does have his own flash to get on out of there. Sorry, interrupted you there, Sultan, but this is going to be a fight on the bot side. Vier finds the collapse again. This Ari is just all over the map, and they find the collapsement. Reedy goes down. 2 kills now onto this Ari, and Vier ain't done yet. Going to miss the charm. Going to be the axes coming through here for Ulveric, but him and Snowlife, they're on the retreat. Going to have to run away because there is a very scary bear waiting around in the river.
Yep. And like, this is why I said it was a good pickup, because you saw Exonian move towards topside just for the dive, and they were not able to get anything onto the Ezreal. And even though
Kobe! He just desperately wants to pick up a wave. He just TP'd back to lane a few moments ago and is once again sent home in a body bag. Second dragon of the game will be picked up by Shady Echo, and I have a feeling this top lane tower will be falling shortly after. This gold lead is getting a little bit ridiculous here, Sultan.
Yeah. This is kind of looking similar to last game at this point. Only problem is that last game, TA Knight was doing good in bot. This time they're losing bot. They're exceptionally down gold in mid lane, and top lane is, I don't even think I need to say something about that. So at this point, this game is looking really rough. I don't know if there's going to be a play that kind of saves them.
Yeah, looking at this gold lead for Panzora, last game did get the Flame Horizon, you know, up 100 CS against his counterpart. This game has almost double Kobe's CS. I think we might need to coin a name for that type of a gap in the top lane. Maybe it's the Panzora gap when you've got double your counterpart's gold.
Oh yeah.
Still looking to push things down in the top side. Shady Gecko is looking to pick up the Rift Herald, will do exactly that, and doesn't even have to expend it into the top side this time. Panzora is going to be able to take this tower out all on his own accord. Vier and... just Vier, actually, looking for a potential play here on the top side. Is spotted out, though, and is not able to find an angle there onto Kobe.
Yeah. This is... I kind of want to see something. Like, like, although these things have been going south for TA Knight, these plays that they're forcing, I think they just need to keep trying. They need the shutdowns.
Oh no, Hadio is going to get flashed on, charmed up, does have the Pop Blossom for that shield, but now that's going to be the Stormbringer over the top. Shady Gecko grabs the kill. Nice explosive cast from Reedy for a potential re-engage, but they're not even able to find the trade kill. Whirling Axe is coming through from Ulveric. Almost claim the trade onto Shady Gecko, but now it's Rift Herald in the mid lane. It's 5v4 on the map for DNX, and Panzora ain't stopping in that top lane, looking to continue get the pressure down. The charge might claim the rest of this tower. Flash from Vier will trade the flash out of Snowlife, getting away from that charm. And yeah, it's going to be the towers going down, the gold lead continuing to balloon. And Sultan, I know this is a tough task, but if you're TA Knight here, can they find a way back into this game? And if so, what is it?
I'll be honest, I don't think there's a way for them to come back. Like, I think this might be a little, like, rough to say, but just, like, how the comp works in general, you need this Draven to be able to, like, get ahead and at least do some damage to these, like, frontliners. The problem is, they just don't have enough damage on their team right now. Although, although they don't really are against, like, hard tanks, like, these bruisers for the side of DNX, they're still way too tanky for the damage that TA Knight is bringing for now.
2 items now completed onto the Mordekaiser Riftmaker, plus the Demonic Embrace for just that extra AoE damage. It is, of course, the Everfrost again as bot lane Ulveric, trying to go forward, trying to get something, but he's going to get rooted up, knocked into the air. 200 HP on that 80 carry will get claimed by Viera, and now Snow Life is next on the menu. Reedy with the Predator, wanting to try and save his bot lane, but he's a little bit late for dinner, and now will have to stand alone and try to defend this tower. Could be a dive angle here from Ixernin and the rest of the squad, but Reedy respecting that, maybe just trying to potentially bait an all in here as he does have Hadjo looking to join. Pop Blossom is available. Oh, flashing in, is going to find the root. Now Pop Blossom going forward, but look at the damage traded back onto Hadjo. He can't find anything in return. Reedy now trying to go into the fight, does find the explosive cast, but that's not going to mean nothing. Double kill onto the Ezreal. DNX just can do no wrong.
Yeah, we're just seeing just DNX just clean up the team fights. They have the gold, they have the champions, and they have the skill to.
They've got the Snow Life, who has been going down again. The pain train just don't stop at this point. It is officially a 10,000 gold lead at 16 minutes. DNX putting on an absolute show here. Look at them just shred through AoE Kobe's health bar, even on the Ornn. They're not going to find too much more here on the bot side of the map. They'll look for a reset. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Maybe that's what they have their eyes on here. Looks like, yeah, that's going to be what they're going for.
I feel like this all comes down to like Panzura being able to do what he's doing. It's like something unfortunate happened at level 1. VDC'd and he gave a first blood, but when you just die, it doesn't really matter if you DC'd or not. You just gave him a lead, and then Panzura, like, they dive Kobe, they do all that. And as I said, you need to be there to make sure this Ornn is getting through the early game. If that doesn't happen, this Mordekaiser just pulls ahead. And when Mordekaiser
Bye, Ulveric. We'll see you in Valhalla. We'll be going down.
Yeah, every time we're talking about something, it's like just Volibear running towards someone and they're just dead.
Yeah.
Like, it just happens like back to back to back. Yeah. Well, what I was trying to say was when Panzura is in the side lane, this Fed, you cannot go to him. Like, you cannot try to kill him, because if you try to send 3, he's just gonna ult one of you and then one-shot you, and
yeah,
like, you're just gonna die.
You thought the Tryndamere was hard to deal with. This Mordekaiser's even worse.
Yeah. Especially just solely because of the matchup. Like, last time, Shannon to Tryndamere is not a counter pick. It's a fine matchup, but it's not a counter pick.
Right.
This time, Mordekaiser is a counter pick for Ornn, and like, one of the best while at it. So it's like, it's just so painful to just watch Kobe. And I don't even think it's his fault, because the matchup is bad, and his team was not able to do anything to help him. And they're losing the other side of the map too.
Yeah, TA Knight are so used to just having the luxury of leaving AoE to his own devices, and in past matches when I've cast this team, Kobe has won some top lane matchups where he's been counterpicked. And so here, I think, just up against a player who's much better, Panzura, gonna trade flashes there, not willing to go all in for it. Reedy gonna find an engage into the mid lane, but that's gonna be just an explosive cast onto the Braum. Pop Blossom coming down. It's gonna be immune, though, by Shady Gecko as he goes unstoppable. And now Vier trying to go back into the fight. Not gonna find anything else. True Shot Barrage will split the uprights, and both teams not really gonna find too much, except Panzura still pushing alone in that top side. It feels like here for DNX, they don't really have to do too much, right? They just, yeah, we're here in the mid lane, we hit you with some summoner spells, or spells in general, and we're always happy that we're winning on the other side.
Yeah. A really unfortunate stat that I can see when I look at the gold right now is that Kobe has 5,000 gold.
Yeah.
The richest member on the side of TA has 6.4. You combine Ulveric and Kobe's gold together, and Panzura is still almost richer than both of them combined.
Oh no.
And like, when you look at it from that perspective, it's just so sad. Like, he's sitting on 3.2k gold as if it's nothing, and that's more than half of what Kobe has.
This shall, from this point forward, be known as the Panzora Gap. Putting on absolute show here is the DNX top laner. Once again, with over 10 CS per minute here on the Mordekaiser, and it feels like we're making a case, or you were making a case, Sultan, on the analyst desk about Panzora being potentially the best player in the CCS. These two games, I'm starting to be convinced, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like as someone who kind of played with Panzora before and played against him, he's just super good at playing these champions that, like, he didn't even, like, other than the dive, I feel like he doesn't get too much jungle like attention either. And like we saw game 1, he just straight up solo killed Kobe. Like he can pull ahead in these matchups alone, and this just like opens up so much for his team. Just like they can play to the other side of the map and you still have a fed side laner. It's
Yeah,
just like ridiculous.
We're seeing it right here. Baron on the map means that Panzora's job is to push out in the bot side. Kobe is more than a little bit overextended here. His team is trying to set up a bush gank on the Ahri, but Kobe, well and truly overextended, is going to try and go on a little bit of a tour de rift here, but stunned up, will get taken out. And now it is TA Knight trying to go for the collapsement here on the top side, but they're standing on a ward. They know on the side of DNX that they are here, and they also know that they've got Panzora free pushing on the on the opposite side of the map. Kobe not going to spawn for another 25 seconds, so that's going to be another tower going over to this Mordekaiser.
Those turrets are worth 600 gold. That's so much gold.
Yeah. Now they're going to start up the Baron. Still got Panzora in this side lane. Kobe still not out of the death chamber. Hadjo trying to go forward here, is going to find it. Okay, nicely done with the explosive cask as well. They are going to find the shutdown kill onto Panzora, but it will be at the cost of this dragon. Ping's going down onto the Infernal Dragon. It would be the soul here for DNX if they can claim it, but it looks like Ulveric want to try and invest some resources into this objective. Baron has now been claimed, and DNX are heading towards that area. Dragon just has now been started here by the Draven. I don't know if they have any business contesting this. Yes, it's 5v4. Yes, most of the lead here for DNX is on Panzora, but Reedy and Hadjo into the fight. It's going to be Xernean going forward with that ultimate. It's the Ezreal going forward. Mori in the backside. Going to be feeling so nice and safe with all of his front line in front of him. Reedy goes golden for a moment, then gets stunned up and taken down. 3 in the death chamber. Ulveric will make it 4. And this is going to be DNX once again wiping the floor with TA Knight. They're going to be able to claim the Infernal Soul, and Panzora is TPing into the top side, maybe even looking to end the game here. Mori going to solo out the Infernal Dragon. They're going to grab their soul. They're already wearing purple, and it is going to be TA Knight's base falling into shambles.
Yeah. Like, it is just something that they have to go for. It's like, if they just give up the Infernal Soul for free, the game is already going to like the game is over. Yeah, it is just kind of a poor showing from TA Knight, but I think this is also really well played by the side of DNX. Both games, they kind of knew their win cons. They got Panzora ahead. They didn't fall too behind in the bot lane, and when you win really hard in one lane and don't lose the other one too hard, you're just gonna eventually win the game out in most scenarios.
Absolutely true. They've already got that soul 24 minutes in. Of course, did grab that Baron buff, as we said. And now it's a pretty simple task for DNX. Feels like they can just either, put Panzora in the bot lane and the rest of them push elsewhere, or they can just all 5 kind of run it into the bot side. It's nearing a 20k gold lead in this game. That is not something I can say I've seen before.
Yeah, I haven't
Panzora.
seen it ever.
Death Realm, this time it will be issued. Kobe's going to be the target, and yeah, Panzora should be able to pick that one up fairly easily. Couple more slams here onto AoE Kobe, and he will be stealing away the stats. Now in a 1v3, actually make it a 2v3 as the Ahri will look to join. Zonia's used from Reedy, but he's going to get pulled in. Ulveric smacked down with the mace of Panzora, and Vier is here to clean up the fights, getting the resets on Ari. Triple kill from Panzora as he slams the mace down and claims another one. Charm will land, the clean ace will come through, and DNX are proving why they are at the top of the standings for the Wednesday conference.
I think Panzora's Q just one-shot Snow Life. It was close to that. Yeah, like before they were gonna take burn, I was gonna say maybe TA can pick up these 700 gold shoutouts, but I guess not. Oh,
Ooh.
he didn't even die. He didn't even die. But yeah, it was just oof. It was a really good showing for the side of DNX. They were dominant. They looked like what they were trying to do. They knew it. They knew what they were going after. They executed it well, and it paid off. Like obviously, both games, Panzora being able to pull out that ahead, like just Flame Horizon and Kobe, both games up 4 levels constantly, both games, and it's just so rough. And like these are champions. Maybe we didn't see Shan, but AoE like Kobe plays a lot of Horn. Like we saw him pick it multiple times this split, and it just goes off to just say, yeah, you can pick your best champion. I'm still gonna like just gap you in the lane.
Yeah, top gap. Not a lot else to be said about that one. We talked a little bit before the game, Sultan, about how this series is going to give us a more clear idea of what the Wednesday standings look like. I said if DNX win, then they solidify themselves as the first place team in this conference. And I think after a very, very convincing win here against the third place TA Knight, right? Like this is the third best team in the Wednesday conference, and DNX just kind of beat them down like it's nothing here tonight.
Yeah, and like to be just going back to last week, TA Knight gave TA Light a pretty good like 2 loss. So you just look, and if the things are like kind of gonna go the same way that this series, DNX should be able to take down TA Light. So I feel like this division is gonna kind of come down to DNX versus TA Knight. From the chat, I heard that TA Light was 1-0 up against Hardhat. So
Ooh.
if that also happens, I feel like this division goes from okay, we have like top 4 kind of close to each other to like okay, DNX is on top.
Yeah.
They're way ahead of everyone. And then we have TA Knight, TA Light, and Hardhat. That is like kind of closer to each other.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I do believe we're going to try and get an interview here with one of the victorious DNX members. So give us a second here to find someone, get them in chat, and we'll be right back. Maybe with Panzora or maybe with someone else to discuss that victory. Welcome back, everybody. We are joined right now by Maury after a successful victory here against TA Knight. Maury, with this 2-0 victory, that brings DNX to 5-0 on the season, a 10-0 game record, really just showing a lot of dominance here across the CCS. Is this something that your team expected heading into this season, or are you a little bit disappointed with how the rest of the competition has looked?
That's actually a really good question. I didn't. They kind of just asked me to play, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." I didn't
Okay.
know like what league I was getting into until like we started playing, and then started shitting on everybody. And we're like, "Oh, all right." So I think we just go from there. Kind of how it's been for us.
Yeah, just kind of got a team together, started winning, it's going good, and not really any other thoughts other than that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay. So I think at least this series wise, I think your team in general played really well. But what do you think about like kind of your teammates? I feel like you have arguably one of the best players in the league with Penzora, and you still have like really strong teammates. What do you think about like how your team is, and if you watched other like top tier teams such as like maybe Hardnat Zone or maybe in the other division? How do you think like your team goes against the other top dogs in the league?
Well, like I haven't looked at the other side of the bracket too much, but for like hard hat specifically, they do like a lot of like weird ass drafting. So like I assume that as long as we can get like picks that we're comfortable on and picks we want to play, like we shouldn't have a problem to any of these teams.
Okay, so you're just confident in yourself and your team.
Yeah, I think all the players are really good, and everybody on our team is kind of nuts. I can go 0-3 and just win the game.
Yeah, can't really blame you with all that confidence after a performance like that. Obviously, that series that we just watched was a little bit of the Panzora show. Definitely able to Flame Horizon, his opponent in both of those games, was up 4 levels as well in some of those. Obviously, yourself piloting the Ezreal in both of these matches, is that kind of the play style that you're more used to with these guys, just playing more for the weak side and scaling up on your own?
Not really actually. Most teams I've played on, it's been like through bot lane,
Okay.
and we've been
So-
like we play stuff like Lucian, like play really aggressively.
So what's it been like kind of adapting to that different playstyle with a player like Panzora on the top side of the map?
It's really nice just to look top at level 3 and then see the enemy getting dove, and as long as I'm not getting dove, it's winning. It's I don't know. Every time I look top, it's just he's always winning.
Yeah. So at least going into this match, did you expect a little bit more? Because we saw at least game one, Ulrich and Snow Life kind of like getting the better side of the matchup, at least for the first few fights that they had in the bot lane. And at least from most people's perspective in the community, they're seen as one of the like top bot lanes in the league. And how do you think like you played against them? Like how did it feel in the bot lane? And where do you see yourself and Exornian, at least like in a kind of a ranking, if you had to, compared to other guys?
Okay, I think their bot lane's actually not bad. I think they definitely like try to play 2 aggro sometimes, and it costs them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're solid. I think they got like decent champ pool. I think their AD actually doesn't have a great champ pool, but I think Snow Life has a really good champ pool. So like it made us like ask a lot of questions when we were doing draft. Like, okay, what are they gonna pick support here? Like, well, because they like always want to counter support. So we always have to like pick something safer, knowing that. For us, like compared to the other bot lanes, I actually don't think any of these bot lanes are like super crazy. Actually,
Would
like
you
other
say the two of you are the best then?
yeah, easily.
Okay.
Lots of confidence. I like it. I got one more question here for you, Maury. The next few weeks, you have some, middle of the pack teams that you're facing off against. I think you have. Let me look here. Yeah, okay, Infinite next week. After that, you have TA Light. So you might have some opportunities as a team to maybe try some different strategies on stage in the coming weeks. Is that kind of something that you guys are looking forward to do in the next couple of weeks, or is it more about refining the strategies that you already are bringing?
Question, I'm actually just gonna leak something a little bit. We actually don't like we play a lot of different stuff in our scrims. Like we pretty much play something new every time we scrim. So we've been on this like I think we're just like naturally gonna go towards that ability to like kind of like play other styles or other things if we want.
Hmm.
But if we're playing someone where we think like Panzor is just gonna be able to like play his lane and just win, then like why not just play through that?
Fair enough. Yeah, definitely makes it easy when your win condition is just Panzora smashing the 1v1. Sultan, do you have anything else before we sign off for the night?
I think it was just well played. It's kind of good to see like a team kind of just consistently beating other teams 2-0. And this, I think before this week, DNX didn't really play against a team that would have contested them, or like the team that we could say that is like kind of higher tier in the division. But I think like with this win, they just kind of solidify that they're like kind of the top 2 team at this point.
Seems like Maury feels the same way. A lot of confidence coming out there from the AD carry. Maury, thank you so much for joining us for the interview tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right, congratulations on the win. Before we do go, something we haven't mentioned yet. The MVP of this series, I don't even have to ask you, Sultan. We're giving it to Panzora. What an absolute legend here in this game. You obviously didn't watch the stream, Maury, but we've coined a new phrase. You know how if you are up 100 CS on your counterpart, it's called Flame Horizon?
Yes.
Okay, so now if you have double your counterpart's gold, it's called the Pandora Gap.
It's
Or
actually
Panzora
really
Gap.
funny you mentioned that. Our whole team was talking about how you use double CS both games.
Yeah.
Well, double CS is one thing. Being double the gold is just completely different. It was insane. But also, I think a good shout out is to the bot lane and mid. I think you guys just played exceptionally well, although you were in the weak side. So always appreciate the weak side players.
Definitely was a full team victory. Maury, thank you again for joining us. And for everyone who watched, thank you so much for being with us tonight. On the behalf of myself, the production crew, and Sultan, we're very happy to spend our Wednesday nights with you. Pop over to CCS 2 for that matchup that's still going on. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more CCS action. Have a good night.